yet? Jesus Christ, come on.
Wait, don't go live yet. Hold on.
Oh, son of a
Don't
bitch.
go live yet.
Don't go live. We're already, what? Don't go.
Whatever.
All right, hey there.
We're live up in the corner, yellow.
Now we are live. Hey there, welcome to Reseller Happy Hour. Somebody's volume is up.
Sorry, that was me.
Live up in the corner, yellow.
I forgot to mute. Eric forgot to mute. Wow, what an awesome start.
Wow,
I had the thing shut down. I had the damn window closed, I thought. Maybe not. Oh, well.
All right, so this is the Reseller Happy Hour. I was going to pick on another show, but maybe we'll do that later on. I did say in the show notes that we have an epic chat, so please go nuts in the chat. Give us something to talk about because I really don't have anything to talk about besides mannequin heads and boobs in the background. So
You should turn on Super Chat and we could just sit and talk about how rich we're getting.
yeah, right. That's not what we're all about. So Thrift Daddy already has a question. How many gyms can we handle? Gonna have to be 2 tonight. So
Why don't we call one of you?
People are asking, is that Jim Carrey? Yes. If you watch the morning show on Valerie's channel, Valley and well, I think it's just Valerie's, and her sister Sally and whatever. If you watch the whatever the hell it's called, I can never
Chick
remember.
Picker Show.
No, it's not the chick. What's Chick Picker channel? Yes, this is Jim from Jim and Tara fame.
So we refer to him as Dex.
Dex.
Yeah, this would be either one.
Well, since we have Jim, we have to call you Dex.
yeah.
That's fine. It feels
Dicks?
weird, but just do it. Like
This is your life.
That's what she
Just
said.
let it happen. Let it happen.
Yeah, yeah. So I am in the new house in Alabama. If you haven't watched my latest video, we are in the garage. We're slowly getting it put together with creepy mannequins and heads everywhere. And the internet is much better, despite what you guys are saying in the chat, what I kind of poked the fun at. So I'm clear now, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, so that's it, guys. Thrift Daddy is asking, biggest loss you have taken recently? Just took a $125 loss today. So
God, I wish you were a better seller. I'm just messing with you. We all take losses.
Mhm.
Yeah, I usually don't advertise them. No, I can't hear you, Dusty. Nope.
nope.
No, we cannot hear you.
Actually, I kind of like the show like this.
Oh. Anyway, I've been taking little losses like every day for a month because I've been selling old Amazon stock just to try to get my money back. And I'm actually losing money on some of the stuff. But yeah, so that was all in preparation for the move. So
I've taken a couple of shipping was more than anticipated hits that actually sucked all my profit away, but I wouldn't call those losses. I mean, I paid fees with them. I mean, I didn't make any money, but I didn't really lose any money.
But it was stuff you wanted to get rid of anyhow.
mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it's stuff. I that's why I took the offer that I did. I didn't care. I just was trying to move it, and I was hoping I'd make a little bit of money, but with the shipping was a little bit more than I expected. It just weighed more than I thought it would. That's all.
So, Jim Carrey, how many items did you crate today?
3, which is a high number for me because they take a couple hours to snap.
So you spent your whole day like out in the hot garage building crates.
Pretty much, but actually it's like in the 60s and rainy here, so it wasn't that hot.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Mosquitoes, but we did take what you're talking about losses. Our big loss was I packed a fish statue that we sold for like, I don't know, $15, and Tara took a message from the buyer who said, we don't have our mailbox set up yet. We're just moving to this location, Wisconsin. Can you send it FedEx because they'll deliver it to our physical address? So she agreed to do that, but she did it because Smart Post would go by the mail, so it would have to be FedEx home delivery. Well, home delivery, if it's a low price item, is usually not cost effective, and it costs $15 to ship it, so we made 0. So
Yeah.
Like Jim Bennett's $150.
No, yeah, it's mean, my losses have been like I would have spent, let's say, $5 on a board game, and I lost like 50 cents.
Yeah.
Like it's but enough of those over the month adds up. But it's stuff that I just want to get rid of. And
Hey, that behind your head, is that like that mannequin? Is that like a before and then after?
this one here,
Yeah.
hold on.
Look at even your breasts have breasts.
We use the boy for everything. We got the
Doesn't
plastic.
work.
Up higher.
You put a blouse on the boy, it looks like a chick. It works.
So the I'll wait until he gets his earbuds back. So the conversation right before we started was like, because he was sweating and he's got his his portable air conditioner, and I don't want to like tell you all your personal business, but you have portable air conditioner to keep cool, whatever. But he was like, is it too loud for the show? And he hooked it up. It was getting hot in the garage, whatever. And I was like, dude, you just need a shirt, because that's what I had on until I changed shirts for the show. But I said, you just need a shirt with no sleeves. And Jim's like, that is not going to happen. I'm like, dude, you're in Alabama now. You got to have a wife beater.
Oh God.
That can't happen till at least next summer. Look at this bad boy. Look at that.
All Jim really needs is a shirt with no sleeves. He doesn't really need to wear pants while he's on the show because it's really a chest-up show. So.
Are you an undershirt wearer? No
I
wonder
am.
You're always hotter than hell.
I am too. Jim, I'm the same way. I always have an undershirt on.
But can I make it? And I used to be the same way. Can I make a suggestion? They do make the A-frame wife beater undershirts that'll serve the same purpose, but they're a whole lot cooler though.
I've got to wear them because I'll sweat through my shirts like not.
When you have moves, you wear a
Yeah.
t-shirt. That's just the rules.
Yeah.
Well, no, I did too, but I would wear the wife beater kind.
Yeah.
And just for some reason, like, I don't know, 2 years ago, I just kind of quit, and I actually gained weight at that point. I just quit wearing them.
Yeah.
Jim, you should wear a pair of underoos.
Oh man. I should find a pair.
That'd be cool.
Jim, your tank top should say "Sun's out, guns out."
So tonight, I guess we should cover what we're all drinking, and because I know everybody wants to see this, I discovered I had one left in the refrigerator. I thought I gave them all to my landlord, who was like, "These are delicious," and I'm like, "Yeah, they sure are." Wink, wink. He's drinking them, and Scott Zilke was over there with me and at his house, and I'm like, "Yeah, they're great. You should drink them." And I discovered I had one left. So tonight is brought to you by Zima, and what else? What's everybody else having?
Well, I've got go ahead, Jim.
I had a Leinenkugel Summer Shandy, like a real beer for me.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that.
It's like stepping up. Boy, he moves to Alabama and gets some taste.
So I have a question. When you moved out of your old place in North Carolina, did you leave all the pink girly drinks in the fridge and put like a note like, free, have one?
I actually only had one left.
You probably needed it after you got done packing the whole entire truck.
No, I didn't pack it. So
Oh, that works.
yeah, we hired people. We hired labor. Which, if that's how you're going to move, you rent the U-Haul, you hire 2 guys to come and lift all the shit and load it up. So
It really is. I mean, what did that cost you on each end, roughly?
$100 in North Carolina, $125 here because I had to travel a little bit further.
That was a 28-foot U-Haul. That's pretty
Yeah.
freaking awesome. I mean, that's a whole lot cheaper than obviously hiring Mayflower to do it from start to finish.
And I rented them for 2 hours at that price, and I didn't need to extend time or anything. They were done well within the time. So
Cool.
When I was in real estate, my brother and I, when we get somebody moving, sometimes they need to hire movers or people to load and unload the truck. Me and my brother, we would do it, but I charged $600
Whoa.
for the 2 of us.
wow.
Yeah,
You got a deal.
Last time I paid for something like that, it was like $225 plus like a $50 tip, but they also had to move the piano.
Yeah.
So a little different story, but I mean,
Why didn't they ask for a tip?
2 guys did it with no problem. So
Yeah, I mean, I tipped them $50 on each end, so. But they broke my shit. The guys up in North Carolina packed everything wrong. And my dining room table broke, and my entertainment TV console broke, but
Sex swing.
my sex swing broke, but that wasn't because of the move. That's
Now wait a minute. Now back up. on the entertainment center. Bearded Picker and I did actually fix that.
Yeah.
I thought it was broken, bro. I took one look at it, and Scott Zilke's like, dude, we can fix that. Where's your screwdriver? So we're on our hands and knees in the. I mean, it really wasn't that big a deal.
You guys are always
Wow, you know what? No,
No.
not on my hands and knees in Jim's garage. Good
I mean,
God.
and once I saw that, I was just kind of pissed off and like throwing shit around. Like, this fucking thing is broken. Just chucking it. And they both were like, no, it's not broken. We can fix it. And I was like, nah, fuck it. You fix it if you want to. I'm just going to go and throw it out by the curb. But yeah, they fixed it. So.
All right. So what are you drinking, Jason?
Oh, I got the. This is great. This is a gluten-free.
Oh, fuck you.
Spiked seltzer lime.
Spiked seltzer.
The only thing after drinking this, the only thing that's missing in here is gin. If it had some gin, it would be pretty damn good.
And taste and class. You forgot those two.
Does it have any alcohol? Did they include the alcohol?
Yeah.
I guarantee you somewhere on that can it says a malt beverage.
It's a 6% beer brewed with natural flavors.
Ooh.
Okay.
Natural flavors don't belong in beer.
And that's Spike's Seltzer. They're being sponsored tonight.
Who's that made? Oh, it's Spike Seltzer is the actual brand. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to enter my birthday.
I'm drinking the one that puts me on the floor. Bird Dog whiskey. I promise to not end up on the bathroom hallway floor tonight.
Oh boy.
Tonight he's not going to make it as far as the bathroom is what he's saying.
That is a very good possibility because I only have a little path because I had a big auction I picked up today. So I don't have crawling space.
You know, Spike Seltzer actually looks kind of interesting, though. I'm looking at their website. It only has 5 carbs. I don't even give a crap about
What's
carbs.
the movie Heather's seltzer water? Everybody knows if you drink seltzer, what that means. Come on.
There's 21 carbs in Azima, which if you're drinking Azima, you probably don't care about anything in life. But
You still got the parachute pants on.
all right. So what are you, Jim? Are you cabin stilling it tonight?
I am drinking a surprise beverage.
Jim's got a still going on back there.
Yes.
Yeah, PBR.
It's a surprise beverage of the night.
That you drink every night.
After he gets over the show, he's going to go watch bull riding. So that's all he knows. So
I might do a glass of old cabin still too, but I'm gonna start out on the PBR, see how it goes.
So the other night I discovered this new little restaurant that's kind of nearish where I live and where Jim lives or whatever, and I'm like, hey, I'm kind of a last minute person, so it's like, hey, let's go, and Jim's like, Ashley just cooked dinner. I really probably don't need to go, and I was like, okay, but so I called Bearded Picker and he and I went. $2.25 PBRs. If you go on certain nights of the week, you can get an entire bucket of 6 PBRs for like $8.
Oh, sweet.
Perfect. And I hadn't had a PBR in so long. And you know what? They're not that awful.
No.
PBR, there's nothing wrong with it. At least you're not drinking Natty Light. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but PBR had so Bearded Picker, he had never had a PBR. And I remember, and Jim, Carrie, you and I are kind of probably close to the same age. I think you're a couple years ahead of me, but like my drinking years were like 1987 to 1990-ish when I graduated high school. So like PBR was like what the old dudes drank, like the guys that were 4 years ahead of us. And it was like the uncool beer. Of course, the cool beer at that point in time was Keystone Light, which is really not cool. And then somewhere in like the 90s, I never heard anybody really mention PBR. And then somewhere in the 2000s with like our daughter's age and the kids, the kids, more millennials or whatever, PBR became cool again.
Yeah, I grew up
came back around.
For light is what I grew up drinking.
Schaefer Light.
Schaefer Light, it was $3.26 a 12-pack.
Yeah.
I got a name for Schaefer Light. It's called guest beer. Now, if you're out camping or something like that, and you know people are going to come over and talk to you and stuff, and they're going to want to, you're going to want to have to, or you feel like you have to offer them a beer, that's when you hand them a Schaefer.
Well, when you're 18 years old and you're buying beer, and you're like, okay, we're going to the party. Let's go pick up a couple 12-packs of Schaefer Light. You're spending like $6.50. I could buy alcohol because I'm so old. I could buy alcohol when I was 18. So, but yeah, that's what it was. Is everybody bought Schaefer Light?
Wow. And nobody stole your beer.
Oh, that's true. Oh, you didn't mind if you gave one away because you're into it for what, like 30 cents a beer? I mean, who cares?
We would go to that country festival in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. It's called Hodag Country Fest. But anyway, we go to that thing, and you can carry into where they're playing the music. It's open. You can carry in your own liquor or whatever. So I mean, people get just loaded. But at the campsite, you'd always have people walking in. And his buddy of my brother's, he's like, yeah, that's why I always bring a case of Schaefer. And sure enough, he's handing it out to people coming over. Oh, yeah, here. Yeah, have a beer. He's handing out this Schaefer. He calls it the guest beer.
Yeah, when I was a kid, they had this like cheap beer. I think it was either called Red Label or Black Label. Anyone ever heard of that?
Red Label's Jamaican. That's not a.
No, Black Label is
Carling.
Schlitz. Schlitz Black Label.
That's
Oh,
it. Yeah.
Carling.
Yeah.
That was some real bad shit. I remember we used to mix that with like Gallo wine and like throw up all over the place.
Oh, I used to drink. I used to
I've been
drink
drinking since I was 18. I don't drink a lot of beer, so.
It's called Carling's Black Label. It's Carling's with a C.
Carling's, that's what it was. Yeah, that was worse. So.
I would go
liquor. Yeah.
It was some real cheap shit.
When I landscaped, I'd go to the liquor store, and the old man who ran the liquor store would have my case of Black Label on the counter, and I'd bring him my case of empties, and then I'd go home. This is like when I'm like 20. I'd take home my case of Black Label, and that night I was doing some tongue and groove work on an A-frame, doing a ceiling on scaffolding, and I'd drink that case through the night, and then go landscape at 8 o'clock in the morning. Without a headache.
You know the beer is bad when you go to return all for the deposit, and the deposit you're getting back more than what you paid for the case.
Yeah. I think it was like $6 a case, not including the deposit. So I'd have to give him, $6 in tax. But he'd have it out there on the counter for me every night.
There was also this other stuff called Night Train. It was like a total like hobo drink.
Night Train, because that's a great name for something.
Guns N' Roses.
Nice thing to think about when you're half-assed on alcohol.
When you're all jacked up on Boone's Farm strawberry, what was it called?
Boone's Farm strawberry.
Was strawberry mist? It was bad. I did that one time with Boone's Farm. I think it was 7.
It was Strawberry Hill.
Strawberry Hill? I never touched it again. I did it one time. Drank like 7 bottles. I remember telling, oh yeah, this smells like Kool-Aid. Yeah. Well.
Coney Hatch said my brother once traded propane gas for 40 cases of hams for a party.
Wow.
I'm not sure if he made a good deal.
What kind of container was the propane in?
That's pretty awesome. I'll trade propane all day long. But it's funny, like Jim moved here and you don't realize the things you need when you move, and you're like this and that and the other. And my first words to him were like, I know my way around, don't buy anything. Call me before I told my landlord that the other day he needed something, and I said, don't buy anything. Call me first before you buy anything. And it's just been kind of fun. It's funny how like things work out. We had Jim and his wife and Scott and his wife over Saturday night. Just kind of did we called it a wine dinner because I wanted to sound fancy, but it was like everybody bring a dish and whatever. And we were going to grill, and I was like, crap, my propane tank's out. So I went to get went to go ahead and swap it, or went and swapped the empty one I had in the garage. And I was like, because Jim's going to have to get a new, because he can actually barbecue here now, and like in where he was at North Carolina. I was like, don't buy a tank because I have an empty tank. That'll save you money or whatever. And it was sitting in my garage. So I think that's part of the awesomeness of networking with other resellers. Like I always ask other people before I buy anything. Like, hey, do you have one of these or have one of those? Or, That's how you save money.
Yeah, and there's a bunch that you've helped us out with. Since our dining table broke, Dusty was like, all right, let's go to, whatever place it was. I don't remember. But, and we
I would hope you wouldn't say it publicly.
Yeah.
That's one of my honey holes. But
yeah, I mean, I know what it is, but I'm not going to say it. I was trying to pretend that I forgot because, it's all for YouTube, right? So,
He went to Iglot,
Yes. but I ended up buying. I ended up buying a dining room table with 6 chairs. Geez, I don't even know what else. Patio set.
You got the wrought iron patio set, a table with 4 wrought iron chairs. You got a not Snap-on Toro. No, what was your lawnmower?
Troy built lawnmower.
Troy built lawnmower with the bagger.
Yeah.
You got
a rug and
a huge rug, 5x7 rug.
Bigger than that, 6x9, I think. Well, I don't know. Could be some. I don't know. It's big, and a curtain rod new in the box. I spent like $250. Like, I can't get that anywhere else. I couldn't go and thrift all that for that price.
It fascinates me when you insure your house, they put that huge amount of money on your personal possessions.
Yep.
Like, your house burns down, they're going to replace. But there's riders on expensive things like guns or jewelry. But your normal household stuff, because they insure you, like you'd go to a furniture store and go buy a couch. I mean, if we burned down flat and I had to replace everything in the house, I'd go to an auction. You'd spend if you spent $3,000 in an auction, you'd be hard pressed not to furnish your entire house.
Yeah, I laughed when I was doing my insurance. I just read it like 3 days ago. I was looking at the rider for my house. It's like my house is insured for like $170,000, which is way more than I paid for it, because that's replacement costs. And then, but my contents are also the same, $170,000. I just kind of look around and I laugh. I'm like, well, I got like $800 and stuff, because I buy everything at auction. I mean, a $25 couch. I got a $40 dining room table. There's no way in the world that I would go to a store and buy new stuff. But
right.
Those new propane tanks, the one with the triangle-shaped knob, because of the ones. If I see them at an auction, they're going cheap, like $5. I buy them.
Yeah.
So I got like 6 empty ones.
Like my landlord the other day said, he needed some patio furniture, and I'm looking for a wrought iron set in really nice condition, whatever. And I had seen another one when I went with Jim, and I was like, how about? He's like, but they're like $300 at Lowe's or whatever, and I was like, how about $80? And went back with the truck yesterday and picked up the other one I had seen at the same place where I was at with Jim, and and he's amazed. Of course, he's not in the junk business, but he's like, how do you find this stuff? I'm like, you just know people, you network, and you meet people. Jim had mentioned, I hope you don't care if I show this, but but Jim would mention, because they got this huge playroom in the top part of their house, and he had mentioned even like bean bags for the kids. I came across these today, brand new in the box, for like $10 a piece.
Yeah.
And I sent Jim a picture, and I was like, it's the freaking lounge chair and the ottoman. And I meant to message Gabe and see if he wanted one, and Jim's like, done. But that's a whole lot cheaper than some big ass beanbag chairs, because those things aren't cheap.
Right.
And those are perfect for a gamer room, or whatever that room you're going to use it for. I mean, they're perfect.
Is that what we're in now, though, Dusty? The junk business?
It's funny because like I refer to it as the junk business, and some junk stores you'll go in and people will be like, they'll get offended by that. I'll walk into a thrift store and call it a junk store, and some people get offended, and some people will be like, it's, I don't know, it's all junk to me. Some of it's valuable, some of it's not.
Right.
I call it the junk business.
2 famous junk guys, Louis B. Mayer and Al Capone.
Is that for real?
That's for real. Al Capone's cover business was antique furniture, aka a reseller. That was his cover for his income. And then Louis B. Mayer, he came from a family of people. His family, that's what they did. They had a junk business. They were like recycling bones and rags and scrap metal they picked up and whatever. And he wound up going out to California and making his millions. That's why it was so tough. If you read about Louis B. Mayer, he used to beat the crap. You know, he was a hard ass. I mean, he beat the crap out of people. But he's a tough old junk guy.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No. I'd kick the shit out of some of my buyers if I could.
You're so customer friendly.
I mean, I had one the other day. Literally paid at 3:30 in the afternoon Central Time, and at 8 o'clock the next morning goes, "Are you going to ship my item out because it's supposed to be here by Friday? I need it here by Friday."
Yeah.
And it's like, seriously? I mean, I don't know, but that's something you got to consider too, though. I think as a reseller, is they may be an Amazon shopper, and they're used to immediately getting a tracking number. If they don't get it that night, they're freaking out or whatever. But it's just, and I had just shipped it, and there goes Jim. Okay. I had just shipped it, and I was like, yeah, I just shipped it. You should have received a tracking number. Thanks so much. But it's kind of, I don't know, people like that sometimes. You just don't let it get to you,
Yeah, you can't. I mean, I had a guy.
It's frustrating, but
I had a guy. I mean, I've got a bunch of hard drives that have been refurbed, but they're, 5 years old. They're still in the box or refurbed in the box. A guy emailed me today saying, "Hey, stopped working, 30-day refund." I'm like, "Do you want me to just send you another one? I don't really care. Or do you want your money back? You choose, and I'll take care of that." And he's like, "No, just send me another one." I'm like, "Cool, not a big deal." I don't make any money on the sale, but then again, I have happy customers.
right.
And you're not like that.
Sorry about that, guys. Jim had to go poop.
All right.
If you turn your camera and your microphone off, we're just going to tell people you're pooping.
That's
the way
right.
the show works.
9 times out of 10 I am.
I hope everything.
Yeah, at least in this house, we can't hear every single sound from across the house. I mean, we tested it. What was that? We tested it one time. We said, "Jim, go to the bathroom and then talk to us," and we could hear him talking to us from the bathroom.
Yeah, it was bad.
I mean, it's just like his house was like acoustically perfect wherever he had his computer at. So.
One stirring the pot said, "It's so therapeutic to see I'm not the only one with piles and piles. Selling is not for the claustrophobic." Okay, what you see with me is what you get. There's no set. There's no pretty posters, although I did get the penis poster from Little Mermaid, so I think I may hang that on the wall just because it has a hidden penis in it. What you see is what you get. It's not fancy. I mean, you see Jason's inventory. You see his picture-taking area. Jim's actually got cool crap. I think, Jim Carey, you're in your living room. And Jim Bennett, I don't really know. Apparently, you have a mannequin fetish.
No.
Go ahead, Joe.
All right, you guys told me I needed to put shit in my background, so that's what.
Well,
this is the only thing I could find.
We were checking because your light was shining down or whatever, and you've never done a show or hangout or anything really from your garage yet.
Yeah.
And so we were like, "No, turn that light off, whatever." And then I go to get a drink or go to the bathroom or whatever before the show started, and I come back and there's like mannequins. It's awesome.
We have a 2-car garage that we put the stuff that's actually listed. That's where that goes, and then when it sells, it comes in very briefly, gets packed, usually in here, and then goes out right away because otherwise we would, so we don't have much inventory or.
So is it an attached garage or detached?
Detached. Yeah. So in the winter it's a bugger. I mean, below zero, we gotta walk out there and pick. It's not.
You can say bitch on this show.
Yeah, and don't warehouse snow globes when it's below zero. Just FYI.
Did they really? Did they freeze?
Oh yeah, it's like what the hell? We listed the thing in November, and here in I don't know, April or May it sells, and I go to get the snow globe. I'm like, Tara, what the hell? Didn't you call this thing as being half full? She said, "Oh no, it was full." I'm like, right. I look at the picture, I'm like, what the hell? How did it leak? And I notice this is happening to all these snow globes where they're freezing over the winter, and they push out that rubber plug. They don't break, but they just push out that rubber thing on the bottom and leak out.
That amazes me that they don't. I mean, because people store stuff in their attics and stuff like that. That amazes me they don't put some sort of like, I don't know if clear antifreeze exists, but they don't put some sort of like antifreeze stuff in those. I guess because kids would probably drink them.
You know what? I bet you they use a certain amount of alcohol to prevent freezing and probably kill germs in the liquid so it doesn't get cloudy. But it's probably not enough because I mean we get down to 30 below. I mean you better when you freeze in your car, you better make sure you got enough in there because some antifreeze ain't going to keep your block from cracking. I mean you got to have that thing.
But if they got alcohol, have you ever tried drinking a snow globe?
No.
You should put that on your bucket list.
Hey Dusty, you need to know the difference between wood alcohol and grain alcohol. Grain alcohol good, wood alcohol bad.
Wood alcohol means blind.
Yeah.
Grain alcohol means got to cut it down, but otherwise you're fine.
Yeah. You're gonna get a buzz, but you're gonna go blind.
Right. All right, Matt's plunder. So, are you guys going to be team operation on the Poor Helpless Auctioneers down there in Bama? We've actually gone to one auction, the three of us. If you're in the Alabama Pickers group, Dusty took the picture and I didn't know. So, yeah, I'm staring at my phone, cursing at it because my phone doesn't work anywhere around here. Sprint is for the inner cities, apparently. And when you're out in the farmland, it just doesn't work. So, and it was, I mean, there wasn't much to bid on anyway, but it was just like when a lot came up, Dusty would peek down the row and be like, are you guys going to bid? We'd both say no, and he'd go for it, and vice versa. So
it was a company that I had been curious about because they also hold a weekend auction that's also antiques. So I wanted to see the facility, the snack bar, the whatever. And I think it was one of those points, Tristan's out of town, so, I kind of had a hall pass or whatever. And Jim had been in that whole moving thing for a week. And I was like, we just need a guy's trip. We need a guy's trip where we just whatever. And Bearded Picker Zilke was like, I'll drive and I'll take the minivan. I'll stick it, one seat, one captain's chair. So we literally had this big, I don't know, whatever it is, Toyota and a really nice minivan. And he loves driving. I mean, the guy drives all over the freaking country. So it was like, the three of us and with plenty of extra room and a Yeti cooler, which I made use of on the way back because Jim and I kind of like, I was like, do you want to ride in the front? But here's the deal. One of us, we'll swap or whatever. Do you want to ride in the front on the way down or whatever? And Jim's like, I want to ride in the front on the way back. So I rode in the back on the way back and with the Yeti cooler. And of course, I'm like, we need to stop and get beer because I'm not driving. I'm going to sit back here and drink beer. But, yes, and I drank alone. The driver did not drink. And Jim's not much of a beer person, but.
No, especially when it's straight bud.
It was kind of a joke. We swung into Walgreens, and of course, Zilke goes and freaking scans and comes out with armloads full of crap, which we pile on top of all the auction crap. And Jim and I stand over at the thing, and I'm like, what's the nastiest beer in there? And he's like, none of them are really nasty. I was like, how about just straight up Budweiser? I was like, yeah. So then, of course, on the way back into town, this particular auction had probably 30 lots of fireworks. And when I say lots of fireworks, they would push out these metal carts, these huge metal carts, and it would be like, not 1 in 5 times your money, but they would say choice up to 5 of the 5 different shelves. You're bidding on 1 up to 5. And so they ran them. I mean, some of them went for like $17.50. And when I say fireworks, we're talking about the crap I'm too cheap to buy for my kids. Always been too cheap. Like I was showing Gabe, Tristan's out of town. Windsor's, off working and never here anyhow and works 2 jobs. And so I was like, Gabe, it's going to be you and I for 4th of July. And I showed him when I got home that night. And there's this black cat thing that's like this big. And he's like, I don't know what this does, but I want to light it. And it's just these massive boxes. And I paid about $25 a piece on my lots. I have about $50 total in 2 lots. But, of course, we stopped on the way back into town. I was like, hey, if we go this way, we can go by the warehouse. And I was like, Jim, do you need to be home? And he's like, nope. And Scott didn't need to be home, right away. And so we, of course, blew crap up. And the warehouse is about 30 feet from a 4-lane country highway, but it's okay. At 11:30 at night, it's fine.
And nice dried out pastures of grass.
So then we decide, of course, Zilke and I decided to have, Roman candle wars and whatever and shoot them at each other and, light stuff while somebody's bent down to light something on fire. You put one behind them or the 600 pack of black cats, you light that right behind them while they're bent over. It was fun. So Zilke's fingers are burned. That's all I know. Not really sure how that happened. So then at some point we hear a siren coming down the highway. And it's really, really fake. He's like, cops! And Zilke goes, cops, 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 cops. So the warehouse door is already open. I'm like, and I move my motorcycle out of the way. I'm like, pull it in. And then we close it down. And I'm standing there and I hear the siren getting closer and closer. And I'm like, dude, if that was cops, they wouldn't turn on their freaking sirens, 10 miles away. It's a freaking ambulance. And I'm like, you're a moron. So then we open the door back up. And of course, that's perfect because we've got the back of the van right there where we can just, get fireworks out or whatever. It was fun.
At least you didn't. Hey, Dusty, at least you didn't flush the fireworks down the toilet because you thought the cops were coming.
Or eat them.
Yeah. All right, Dusty, who owns the Yeti?
The Yeti is actually Zilke. I'm too cheap to buy a Yeti. I have like the Amazon private label brand. It's more of a dry box. It does not hold ice for like 25 days like a Yeti does, but I like it and it seals shut just like a Yeti and that kind of stuff. I'm too cheap to buy one. That's Scott's.
Yeti, but if I acquired one, I would immediately flip it.
I'm gonna tell you though, I will say this. He got to my house and he had a bunch of water and Cokes in it. And he got to my house. Jim had just gotten here to my house. And we were all like piled in the van. And Jim said something. I said, anybody want anything to drink? And Jim said, I want a bottle of water. I flipped that open and the ice on top looked like it had been inside a freezer. I mean, it wasn't even like glistening. It wasn't sweating at all. And by the end of the night, it wasn't sweating at all either. And it had been in a hot van. I mean, they do their job. They're just expensive,
Yeah, I was going to say, what does a bag of ice cost? $3? Yeah. I just keep buying bags of ice.
Exactly. And an igloo cooler's got a piss spout on the side of it.
Right.
But it was, I don't know if you told Ashley all that story, so I guess she knows now if she's watching.
Yeah, she knows.
But we stopped, we stopped for, we stopped, I don't know, probably wasn't an hour or so. And we weren't, the warehouse is not far from Jim's house. It's probably, I don't know, 7, 8, 10 miles, something like that. Yeah. But it was fun. It was just, it was, even though the auction kind of sucked, we all made some money. We all got some decent stuff. We now know, and I would still go back for their antique auction. We got to preview the stuff that they already had sitting in the back of their warehouse for the upcoming advertising and collectibles auction. I would, if the crowd is as thin as it was the other night, there was some good crap in that auction, I would go back for that. So for me personally, it was worth it because I've seen this company advertising for about a year now, but it's about an hour and 15 minutes away, and I didn't know if it was worth going. We did stop in a little junk store in town. We were all searching on our phones, and I got a whole bunch of old yearbooks. Jim got.
I didn't buy anything there.
You didn't buy anything at that one. God, it was the coolest store. It was like records, vintage T-shirts, vintage posters. He had 1950s Sports Illustrated magazines. Of course, everything was more like with a record store. He had comic books. Everything's in boarded and sleeved and all that. So, and he kind of knew. And then of course, so I'm trying to deal with him on these yearbooks. I'm like, yeah, I love the old yearbooks. I love looking up, who's in them. And I'm not lying to him. I just don't feel it necessary to volunteer that I resell stuff. If they ask, I'm not going to lie. No, I won't lie. But he's like, well, I'm an eBay power seller. And, some of these have football players in them. I can put them on eBay and I can get $40, $50 a piece or whatever. My phone is in my pocket. Jim's standing there because Jim heard it. And my phone is in my pocket and it cha-chings. And the guy standing there talking, I will like this, and I kind of turned to Jim and kind of raised my eyebrows.
And that's when I quickly turned around. Because I was going to laugh.
Zilke turned around and faced the door, and I'm like, really? Yeah. And the guy goes, see, I just sold something. And he bends down and picks up his phone, and he goes, that was weird. I go, huh. I'm like the one time I wish I was videoing to just show this. It was hilarious. And I'm like, I said, well, anyhow, so because I'm thinking he's going to put 2 and 2 together here in a second or whatever, and then my prices are probably going to go up, or he's going to ask. And then of course I'm not going to lie to him. But really nice guy. I mean, he gave me his business card, and I'll show you the front side. But he's got a lot. He's got a good eye. He buys stuff from estates. He buys stuff. You know, he doesn't put everything on eBay, and he left a lot of meat on the bone. I mean, I spent $180 on yearbooks, and I figured out the other day it was $12.80 a piece average. So I don't know, do the math. I think it was 15 of them. But you know, there's a lot of $50, $60 yearbooks in there, and I'm okay with that because they're easy to list.
Yeah.
So it was a cool trip. We got to go through some little towns where I'd heard there was, like I said, hey, I heard there's a liquidation place up here in blank, Alabama. And we get there, and of course we're searching, you know, all on our phone, and I find it, and we get there, and it's all cheap Chinese crap. I mean, they had some Alabama Crimson Tide merchandise, but it was a lot of your grip brand tools, your JMK, which is kind of like a Chinese Harbor Freight. It was a lot of stuff like that. So, well, at least we know there's a market for Alabama stuff. At least we know what their pricing is. At least we know where they're at, you know. So it was fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes when that comes up with the, you know, are you a reseller or what are you doing with this stuff or whatever, I'll use it. I mean, I'll tell them, hey, I'm a reseller, and, you know, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to have to sit on it. I'm going to do all the heavy lifting. I'm going to give you cash today. You're out of it. You're done. And, you know, if it's another dealer, you're done with it. Your risk goes down to zero. I'm the one who's going to have to take all the risk. And, what, you know, you got to give me something. You know, you got to give me a deal so I can do this.
I've found that my regular connections that I deal with are more, they all know what I do. But like I was talking to one of them today. I went out and bought a bunch of crap today. And I was talking to him, and I said, he said, like, you know, like he asked, for instance, on something like, why can't you sell this? You know, I want $10 for it. Why can't you sell it? And I said, well, let's look it up. And I showed it to him on my phone. I said, it sells for $24.99 free shipping. He goes, okay. I said, it weighs about 5 pounds. It won't fit in any kind of, I said, they have, and I explained it because he doesn't do stuff like that. You know, doesn't sell online. He just sells locally. And I said, so if it goes to California, I'm looking at 12 to 15. Sweet. I'm looking at $12 to $15, you know, in shipping, 15% in fees as a general rule, you know, ish, you know, actually a little less than that. He's like, wow, is shipping really that much? And I said, yeah, 1 pound is considered anything over 16 ounces. And I kind of educated him a little bit. And he said, what does 1 pound start at? And I said, well, if you could fit it in what they call a flat rate envelope, it starts at about $6, give or take. He's like, seriously, for 1 pound? Like, because he doesn't realize the last time he probably mailed anything out, it was probably a bill with a stamp on it.
Yeah.
You know, and that was a chance to kind of educate. And I said, so if I factor all of that in, I said, you know, even at your $10 sounds like a great price. I said, there's a lot of fees involved. I said, then you got to factor in, you know, shrinkage. People claim they didn't get it, or they return it and it's return damage, or stuff that never sells because I should have never bought it in the first place. I've got to factor all that crap in. And I said, so 25, paying 10 and getting 25 isn't necessarily always a great deal on something heavy. He's like, oh, okay. And I've been doing business for this guy for almost however long we've been in Huntsville, 11, 12 years. But it was a chance to, like, just kind of, and of course at a yard sale, you don't want to go into all that freaking detail because they're not going to give a shit. It's not really not even worth it with a yard sale because you're only going to see them one time.
Right.
No, and a yard sale would treat different than another dealer. You know, it would be like you said though, like with the yearbooks, it's another dealer, and you explain to them one time, and then they get it. It's like, oh yeah, I didn't look into all those, you know, additional expenses you have. It's black.
What?
No, it's just Dusty's picture's black.
No.
Can you guys hear me, or am I glitching out?
Yep, he froze.
He froze, yeah.
There he is. Now we can't hear him though.
No, there you go.
Emotionally, if you tell people that, you know, as long as they understand it's a fair exchange, it's most of it. A lot of it's emotion. As long as they realize they're being treated fairly, go.
Am I still black?
Yeah, we got you.
You're Caucasian.
No, you're not black.
Once you go black, you'll never go back.
The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
Great.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
it's one thing to educate the people you're buying from. I mean, we've all seen it at go to a yard sale or go to a thrift store, and they've got the eBay asking price printed out and taped to the item.
No.
Yeah, nobody understands the cost of selling, and it's fine to educate, or I just usually walk past those people. I don't really care.
I mean, you could sit there and go into detail. Well, self-employment taxes are, roughly 30, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you could go into all of that kind of crap, but at the end of the day, like I literally, this is a true story. Today, I was buying a whole pile of stuff from a friend, and another person that resells that I met this guy one time before. It's kind of weird because I met him an hour away from where I was at today. And he walks up and he goes, "Do I know you?" I said, "I was thinking you looked familiar." And he goes, "Wait a minute, you're so-and-so with the dental chair, whatever." And I was like, "Holy crap, yeah, you never called me, whatever." So anyhow, the guy goes, "Well, what do you want for that NutriBullet thing right there?" He said, "I see it's in your pile. You're about to buy it." And the guy I was buying it from had walked off, so I felt like I'd speak freely. And I said, $100. $100? I could buy one at Walmart for $50. And so because I knew he was a reseller and I could be a little snarky, I said, "Then you should probably go buy every damn one of them because they're worth $100 online." And he goes, wait a minute. That's the pro model. That's the newest one or whatever. And I said, yeah. And he goes, "You can't do any better than that?" And I said, "To be honest, I don't really know you, and you don't put food in my kid's mouth or what?" Because he got a little kind of weird with me. And I said, "You don't put food in my kid's mouth." And I said, "That right there is my profit to feed my kids,
Yeah.
And I said, "Don't take it personal, but I said, I probably could do a little better with a local purchase. That's probably 75. And he's like, "No, that's still too much." And I was like, "All right, well, have fun."
Yeah. I mean, I was telling I was at an auction earlier, and I was watching a couple guys bid, and I know they're eBay resellers. I've heard them talk about their eBay store, and it amazed me. We were also checking out at the same time. They spent $260. I spent $425. They're going to be lucky because I watched what they were buying. They're going to be lucky to get their $260 back because they bought crap.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm probably going to make $2,500 off my $400. So it kills me. But I tried to talk to them a little bit. "Hey, I see you're selling on eBay." I said, "This stuff over here is really good. You should look it up." And they had no interest in it whatsoever. So I bought a couple of lots of the stuff, and I'll make a ton of money off. It's Bennington pottery. I'll make a bunch of money off of it.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm not trying to. Again, at an auction, I'm very friendly because I know what I'm going to pay for something. If you outbid me, you win it. It's that simple. If you don't go up to my price, then I'm going to win it. It's not anger or friendly or anything like that. I know what I'll pay for it, and that's what I'll spend. But I mean, it just kills me when I see guys like that are not going to be successful. And I have seen these guys probably for the last 10 or 12 times I've been to this auction, and they never buy quality stuff. Their top limit is really like between $10 and $12, and they're never going to get there. If they spent, I bought 3 lots today. I spent over $80 a piece on each lot, and those lots turned out to be absolutely fantastic. But it bugs me when I see people who could be successful, but they won't take advice, or they're just bad buyers. They may be great sellers, but they're bad buyers.
Reseller Rockefeller says a lot of resellers just don't understand. A lot of resellers have no clue how to actually buy to resell. He's seen some that buy straight junk. It just amazes him, and that's what
these guys were. I watched them separate one of their bins they bought, and they're picking up
how new were they though to the business?
No, they've been there. Well, I said for the last 5 or 6 months I've watched these guys buy, so they've been selling for at least 6 months. But I mean, they were picking up stuff and looking at it to figure out whether it's to keep it or to just trash it, and they were picking up like a wireless router. That's not a good one. It's just your basic wireless router. It's probably $10 if they're lucky, and that's a keep. And they're picking up like a power strip. Oh, that's a keep. And I'm like, you guys passed up stuff that I spent $35 for 2 lots of Bennington pottery. That's probably going to bring me $800 or $900.
But
I try to point it out to them, but I don't want to be, hey, you guys suck, do this. But I'm just like, I'm just more like, man, that's some really good stuff over there. You guys should check that out. Because I really didn't care, because I wasn't going to buy it if it went more than $35. That was my top limit on it, because it's a pain in the ass to ship.
No.
But it was just like, spend 5 seconds looking this stuff up, but they had no interest in looking at things that were outside their comfort zone, and apparently their comfort zone is junk. But
that's where I mean, a lot of us here on the panel, or we all here on the panel have done it for quite a few years. I mean, I think you get to that point where you start seeing more and more home runs. And when you get to the point where the home runs, where you're constantly trying to like one up and turning $10 into $100 isn't quite as exciting as it used to be. I think that's the point where you've gained a really big knowledge, but or a vast knowledge of a lot of little things, and you've kind of educated yourself. But I think there's a lot of resellers that just never move past that point. This business is not for everyone. There's some people that are going to struggle to do it. There's some people that it's just simply going to be a part-time income to help out as maybe a stay-at-home mom or whatever. Not everybody is cut out to research. Not everybody is cut out to retain. I don't retain. There's a lot of things I don't retain. I sucked at it in high school. I remember weird shit. I can tell you, if I walk in, I didn't even scan a barcode on that NutriBullet, the NutriBullet Pup Pro, because I've sold one 4, 5, 6 months ago, and I remembered what I sold it for. And so when it was $20 and it was worth $100, I'm like, done, Yeah. And I think you have to get to that point. But if you're not moving toward that point, you need to work on those skills, because you're going to end up staying in this zone of
what you're going to be. You're not going to be a decent reseller. You're going to sell crap.
You're going to be that. Did you say a junk seller?
Well, you can be make a living at $10 to $20 a piece.
I'm a junk seller. So is Al Capone.
Yeah. Again, if you want to make a living selling $10 to $20 items, that's fine. But you're going to work a whole lot harder than I work selling, $25 to $50 items.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And again, I don't have a problem. Someone comes up to me at an auction and says, "What do you sell?" I say, "I sell on eBay." If I'm leaving and there's still half the auction to go, which is what I left today, I have no problem going, "Hey, you should check out that box over there. It's going to be a really good buy." Because I don't care. I'm not invested in that stuff. But it just boggles my mind that too many people spend all their money on crap, and they've never learned. They haven't moved past that point where you got to stop buying the $10 items and start buying the $25 items.
I walked past a lot of stuff today when I was buying. I spent $810 today, but I ended up with, and I was going through, well, Jim had to leave and go get pizza, but I was, Jim saw some of it. I mean, I've got a Dell all-in-one computer I'm going to probably sell for $400 or $500. There's a brand new digital camera in there that with the lens and the other stuff. I mean, I'm going to get my money back off these 2 items. And I literally had the front cab of my truck, because it was in between rain clouds, completely full, where I'm driving like this, and then like 3 or 4 boxes in the back. I mean, it was a huge load. Yeah. And I'll get my money back off those 2 items. But you know what? I wasn't afraid to spend the money. I mean, yeah, it's not a great feeling when you pull back in your driveway and go, shit, I spent $800. I mean, there's been days worse than that. But if you've looked the stuff up, here's the thing. It's a guaranteed. I think too many people are afraid, because you've got everything right there at your fingertips. Yeah. You've got, I mean, down to the solds, what it sold for. And if you sort by recent first, you can even tell how often the item sells. Smartphones have taken all the guesswork out of it. It's not even an educated guess anymore. It's just what was it you said today, Jason? It's a given. I mean, it's right there.
Yeah.
I use the smartphone more to avoid bad purchases, though. I will say that I usually use my instincts to buy, but when I'm using my instincts, I will check myself and I'll see, is that instinct right or am I wrong on that instinct? And the smartphone has saved me from a lot of bad purchases.
The smartphone is great for when you're stepping outside your comfort zone. You've never sold that item before. I bought a box lot of clocks. I've bought a clock here and there, but I've never bought a bunch of these wind up or electric, vintage clocks, 30s, 40s, 50s. I looked up one clock. It sells for $50. There's 19 clocks in the box. I paid $80 for the whole box. I don't think that's a big.
And I didn't know about that. And the same hangout right before the show started, you're like, "Hey, Dusty, you like clocks?" And dude, you're pulling them out, and I'm salivating, and you're going one at a time, and I'm like, "There's okay." So at that point, I'm like, "There's roughly what 20, and you paid 8," and I'm like, "I'll give you something." Like I'm thinking like no, because he knows how much is there, and I flat out told you, I said I would price every single one of those clocks at $99.99 or best offer because they're all Art Deco, Art Nouveau, very 1920s, 30s, 40s maybe, and they're desk, they're little alarm, and they're gorgeous. I mean, the lines, the shapes, the yeah, show some of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's one right there.
I mean, they're just freaking awesome. The brands you have.
This wasn't the one I looked up, so I haven't even looked that one up. The only one I looked up,
It was like a never-ending box of clocks.
was this Hammond clock right here. This one sells for $50 by itself plus shipping, so it's like $60. So I mean, I know that's a good buy right there, but I mean, this is my favorite of the bunch. It's a Seth Thomas. Nothing special, right? It's a wind-up clock. But what's cool about this is when you wind it, you get clocks on both sides.
See, and that's unusual. That's what we were talking about, like the Seth Thomas, and I know people in the audience. I mean, if you come across the Seth Thomas folding travel clocks, I mean, you expect to get about $9.99 out of them. And the only reason I know it's because I've sold some of them. They're not great. So Seth Thomas, yes, it's a good brand. But if it's an older clock, that was the key. Oh shit! Did Jim leave? That's not gonna shut the show down, is it?
He'll come back.
But that's not gonna. I've lost my train of thought. So Seth Thomas, yes, but it's the period. Art Deco, Art Nouveau is hot. It's always been hot. The classic lines on things. So which brings us to kind of a question. Reseller Rockefeller said, "Tell me this, guys. Why do modern resellers, ones who have just started, seem to stay away from antiques and collectibles and lean more toward clothing? What do y'all think?" I'm going to tell you right now because they're lazy. People don't want to put in the work to learn. And, I've always said it before. I'm the nerd that watches Antiques Roadshow. I watched an episode last night. I was in bed actually asleep by 10:30. But there was a new episode of Antiques Roadshow. It's learning. It's putting a Koval's freaking antique price guide. I don't care how old it is.
Holy crap.
Your toilet and flip through it and learn something new.
Oh my God.
Did you see who was in the chat?
What?
Neil.
The copper mustache.
Holy crap, where is he?
He's alive.
Neil, I check your Facebook page like at least once a week, and it's like the same post from 2014.
I'm glad to see you're alive, Neil. We were worried about you.
Yay!
But yeah, I mean, it's really clothing is easy, and you don't have to think too much about it. You can look up a label and say, "Oh, that's a good brand." I'll go listen, throw some measurements up, take some pictures, and I'm a seller. You don't have to think about clothing.
But people don't move past that because they never branch out. And I'm not bashing clothing. I mean, there's money in
clothing.
shirts. There's money in high-end brands. So either become the best clothing reseller you can be or learn to branch out.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like I've said before, not everybody has a great sense of style. So if you don't have a good sense of style yourself personally, then you probably shouldn't be selling clothing because you're probably not going to buy stuff that's stylish.
Yeah. I have no sense of so when I sell clothing wise, I sell Levi jeans or some of the higher end jean brands. I sell Hawaiian shirts, and I sell jackets because jackets don't require style for the most part. Jackets are pretty simple.
Wait. Argumentative point here. Thrift Daddy said, I'm gonna let Eric take this one. Because collectibles and antiques are harder to find. And I don't know if his caps button is stuck or if he was stressing a point. I disagree.
Oh,
I'm going to tell you why I disagree. Because I have Jim Bennett Stud Good with Antiques and Collectibles. And when he was in North Carolina. Jason was in Pennsylvania and sells cool crap like that. Eric finds it in Ohio. I'm in Alabama. Jim is in, I don't know where he's in, Canada. Where are you at? Upper Wisconsin.
Canada South, so.
Wisconsin.
Close enough.
Or as we call it, Wisconsin.
And if you watch one of his videos, I mean, it's just knowing where to find the stuff. The problem is The second problem is people depend too much on thrift stores, which actually brings to a really, really good question, but I had to refresh a minute ago, so I forgot what it was. It was about 30 minutes ago. But Jim, like, have you done any picking since you've been here? Have you even had any time? I think the question was something like that. Or what are you like, based on the new place you moved to? What do you think?
I've picked a little bit. We did take a day and go and check out some thrift stores. We ended up in Meridianville, which is Scott Zilke country, like 30 minutes away or so. And the thrift stores tend to be spaced out a lot, so there's travel time. So you're killing your whole day driving from store to store to store, and you might pick up 1-2 things. Maybe, if you pick up 10 items to resell, you're doing really, really good from one spot. So, and I've talked about it in videos and stuff, and I've got to find other ways to buy stuff that's not thrifting. I need to buy just auction lots and lots full of stuff, storage auction, stuff like that, where I'm buying a lot at once and then listing, slowly or whatever, whatever pace I want, but I'm not, wasting, really, it's a time waste. It's going from store to store to store when you're driving 20 miles to get to the next store, But it's, the auctions around, or the thrift stores around here are about the same as what I had at home. We did stop at that Goodwill that Dusty hates today, because I was
the one that's all Target clearance stuff, because we have a center right down the road.
Yeah, I was like, all right, I've got to see what's going on here, because Dusty hates it so much.
How'd you go there? You went there today?
I went there today. Yeah.
So I want to hear. So what did you think of our Goodwill?
It's terrible. I mean,
and that's why I haven't been there in a year and a half. It's like I was saying to somebody the other day. If you continuously go to a place and people go, oh, but you should go check, because you never know when they'll miss something. Okay, if I go there 10 times over the last 8 years, and every time I walk away going, why do I come here? Then I'm just going to quit going there. It's not worth it, because I know I have a better chance over here. And not all thrift stores are bad. I think you learn which ones are scanning and looking everything up in the back, and just avoid those if you're not finding anything.
I have the option where I live at. I could probably hit, in a day, I could probably hit 35 thrift stores.
Yeah.
And I go to a thrift store maybe once a month if I'm lucky, because I have also an amazing amount of good auction stuff to buy from, where I get quantity for a lot less price. I'm not buying single pieces. I'm buying boxes and stuff. I have boxes. I spent $75 on a box. It's going to more than pay for my whole auction. That's the type of stuff I would rather buy. I don't even do estate sales, because estate sales are, in my opinion, they're overpriced. I check them out. I've done well at estate sales. I just don't usually buy from them, because people think, again, they go to the eBay ask, and that's what they price things at, and it's hard to get people to come off their numbers. But yeah, thrift stores are fine if you're a clothing seller and that's all you want to sell. There's nothing wrong with thrift stores, but you're buying by the piece, which means you have to make that much more profit. Whereas when I buy clothing, I buy it by the lot. I want to buy a closet. I bought a closet of hunting stuff for $18 or something at an auction, and I'll probably make $400 or $500 off that closet.
But Barry Worth said, who needs a sense of style? Talk about clothing. Who needs a sense of style as long as you can click on eBay solds? Hell, if I know which adult diapers feel the best, as long as they sell or whatever. But so the point being, but I'm going to disagree there, because there are keys, and this is where my wife plays a critical part of our business. There's a difference between knowing, okay, this is a Michael Kors shoe from 15 years ago that's not in style anymore, and this is a Michael Kors wedge whatever. I mean, see, I obviously don't even know all the vernacular that's in style. It just, and too many people get into clothing based on brand, and I've seen people, take a look at my store, and then I go look at their store, and it's Polo Ralph Lauren. I'm like, but it's dated. It's not even vintage cool. Right. It's like 90s not cool, or early 2000s, and it's but they bought it based on brand. So I think you still do have to have a knowledge even with clothing.
And there's a lot of clothing sellers that just buy on brand. Like, let's say they're looking up, they're not even selling that great anymore, but Brooks Brothers dress shirts, and they're just buying plain white dress shirts just because the tag says Brooks Brothers. Chances of selling that are like so minuscule because everybody's selling that. You know, you have to go find pattern. You know, unique patterns or.
Well, and you got to know whether it's in style to have button down, non-button down. I mean, what's the current trend with collars? I mean, there's certain things. You know, it's slim fit in, it's slim fit out. I mean, I think slim fit's in now, but obviously that's not my area, and so that's one of the reasons I kind of steer away from clothing.
Right. But I think if you like clothing, then go for it, sell it. You know,
go for it, but become good at it. You know, it's Tristan said my wife said one day on a show, she said, if you're in doubt, you know, you're already at a thrift store, pick up a couple of men's fashion magazines or women's fashion magazines. That's the best way to learn. But you know what? That's going to require, you know, because they have magazines for 25 cents or whatever. Pick up some that are only a couple months old. Study fashion, study styles. But the problem is that requires work. So I really feel like, once again, back to the original question, people don't want to put in the work. I mean, in 20 years of doing this, I can count on several hands how many people have approached me and I've given them inventory, said, hey, just sell this. We'll do it on a 50-50 split or whatever. And you can keep half the money. And they're like, yeah. And then I give them one load of stuff. I might see like some money. Usually 9 times out of 10, I see no money. And they go away and they're like, no, I just went and got a job. You know, they don't want to do it.
Right. I think back to the original, you know, why do newer sellers sell clothing? It's they haven't tuned their researching skills.
Yeah.
So they're just afraid to look up stuff. They're looking at something that doesn't have a brand name on it. Oh shit, how do I look this up? There's no brand name. Like they haven't taught themselves how to, you know, research. As a big fucking bug hits my garage door.
Oh, welcome to Alabama June bugs.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with thrift stores. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I have a lot of them around, but you have to kind of base your business. If you're going to be a clothing reseller, and I sell clothing, but like I said, I sell very limited items in very specific categories. Do that. Figure out, you know, be the best jeans reseller you can possibly be. Figure out what jeans you want to sell. You know how much they sell for. You know, I sell Levi's jeans for $19.99, and they're usually on sale, so I get like $15 a pair. But if I can buy it for $1, I'll do that all day long. Not a big deal. They ship for $6.30.
But then at a certain point, you learn, okay, you know, I've come across jeans that were 55 waist and 28 length, and you learn that, like, you know, bigger jeans sell or smaller skinny. You tweak and fine tune your business and go, well, I'm not just going to buy the average run-of-the-mill 30 waist, 28 length, or 30-30, which is probably one of the most common. I mean, that I do know from you know, experience. I don't know a whole lot about clothing, but I know 30-30 is pretty common. A size 9 men's shoes is probably about average, 9 or 10, which could be a good thing or a bad thing if you have something unique. But if it's just a plain Levi's jeans and a 30-30, you're going to be out there with, I guarantee you, probably 10,000 other used pairs right now.
No.
I'm going to go search that shit. Watch this.
I was going to say, look that up.
You got to remember, a lot of people on the panel here, I mean, we've been doing this so long, like totally before cell phones. So you kind of just had to learn the hard way, you know?
Men's jeans category, Levi's 30-by-30, 2,866 results.
Yeah.
So please tell me, when you put your Levi's up, unless they're vintage, unless they're special in some way, how are you possibly going to stand out amongst 2,900 other items?
Well, that's where you have to be the best jean seller you could possibly be. You got to do free shipping. You got to do 10-day listings or 7-day listings. You got to work your way up that pile to get into that first page. You got to be on the first page. If you're not on the first page, you're not going to sell. So it's just that simple. I mean, but Jason hit it right on the nose. If you do it long enough, you don't even need your phone to look stuff up because you can get an idea. You know what stuff sells for.
Wes Whedon, what's up, Wes? Said I love the idea of mainly sourcing from auction houses. Problem is, 5 years ago, that is how I started, and I sucked at it. Pretty sure if I said, "Hey, hun," to my wife, "let's get all out stuff at auctions," it would not go down well. I'll get all our stuff at auctions. It would not go down well. LOL. That said, when you learn to turn fast money other ways, it's hard to not get stuck doing it one way. It is hard to get stuck doing it one. I mean, with the awesome thing about auction, if you get there early enough, you can preview it and you can look the stuff up, and that should take a lot of the guesswork out of it. If it comes up on the auction block and that happened to us the other night, and I was like, well, damn, where'd that come from? I didn't see that. You either got to be really fast on your phone, or you got to go, hey, it's cheap enough, I can take a chance, and you go with your gut.
I'll give you a great example. This happened to me this morning. I'm at an auction, and I posted pictures. I sent pictures to everybody else so they understand. It's a giant box lot auction. There was probably 2,000 box lots to be bought at this auction, and they do these things twice a month. So I mean, I know, and I've always done very well there. So I'm at this auction, and I'm looking at this box right here. I don't know if you can see it. You can't really see it. And the only thing I saw in this box was this plate right here. The only thing I saw, because I wasn't paying that much attention, I was quick glancing through it. This is a pewter plate. It's a Wesley or Wendell August plate. It's a $25 plate. A lot. They start every box lot out at $3. So I'm like, okay, so if I can pick out it for $3, there's an anniversary clock, there's a couple of salt and paper shakers, there was some silver plate in there. No big deal. If I can buy it for cheap, I'll get it great. I'm about 10 feet away when she starts to sell the box. So I'm like, all right, cool. All of a sudden, I see in the corner, and I didn't even notice this in the first thing, I see this sitting right there. And all I can see is the top half. So this is what I see.
Oh, I love this story. Hold on. Okay.
So I'm like, what the hell? I didn't even see the Star Wars stuff in there. I said, that's a Kenner. You can see the Kenner name on it. I said, okay. So she pops open the box, and this is all I see is I see this right here. And the only thing I can see is I see right there. I can see this guy, which is Luke Skywalker, and he's got his lightsaber.
He does have why is his lightsaber blue? Mine was orange when I was a kid.
I know, it's a rare lightsaber. It's just worth more money.
Is it really?
So like, holy crap, those are original Star Wars characters. Okay, I haven't even looked at them. I haven't checked them out, but I see 10 characters in there. All right, I buy the box for $75. I'm like, you know what the hell? I'm going to go all strong on this box because I want it because I think there's good money in here. I think $60, $70 a piece for some of these characters, maybe $20 for the other ones. I don't really know. I haven't looked them up. I haven't looked at anything. So I'm like, cool, I get it for $75, and I sent pictures of these guys. This is all I showed because, like, hey, I paid $75 for this. Well, I got a plate for $25. I got a clock for, it's probably worth $25. I say a box, it's kind of neat. I don't know what it's worth. And then I pull out 2 bowls. These are the silver plate bowls I was talking about. I saw them in there. I flip them over, and they're both sterling silver.
Where's Thrift Daddy? Oh, Thrift Daddy's going to love that one.
There is 1 pound, 7.5 ounces of sterling silver right
here. That's freaking awesome.
$330 for just these 2 bowls that I paid $75. I only spent $425 at the whole auction.
Thrift Daddy just said,
nobody paid, I didn't pay attention. Everybody else missed it. Everybody saw the Star Wars stuff. When I researched them, they're not quite as nice as I'd hoped. They're $25 a character, but there's 16 characters in there. So that whole box is going to not only pay for my auction, but double my profit on the auction.
But didn't Jason say he'd trade you?
I don't think he hasn't talked about the Star Wars characters. He got some hammerhead guy in there. I don't know.
So we're in the.
Don't you dare go there, Dusty.
What you say? We're in the hangout before the show started. He's like, "I'll trade you a Jawa for an Ewok or whatever it was." I was like, "Yeah, really?
A hammerhead for a Jawa."
God,
any of those figures last 7? I don't know what you mean by last 17. So thrift value. Tell me what you mean by any of the figures last 17. They're all, most of them are marked 1977. The case is 78, and there is one that's a 78 figure that is, or 79 figure that is Boba Fett's in there from 79.
So while we're waiting on him to answer, Jim, are you okay there?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fireworks.
Oh, so it wasn't a giant June bug? Somebody was shooting bottle rockets here? It
No,
wasn't
no,
me.
no.
I've been right here the whole time, although that'd been funny as hell because I would have totally done it.
No, that was the first one was something that hit my door, my garage door. But it didn't pop like a firework. There was 2 or 3 shots. It sounded like gunshots, but I'm pretty sure it was a firework. So
It was a June bug with a double stack magazine.
I don't know anything about the Star Wars figures thrift that he says the most valuable figures are the last 17 made. Of the original 92 figures, Ewoks are worth a lot. I have zero knowledge about these, but I did know that the Star Wars characters, there's Obi-Wan, there's Darth Vader, and there's Luke Skywalker. As long as they have the original lightsaber in their hands, that makes them a little bit more valuable. So that's what I was buying. I was buying those 3 characters, and they're all in there.
I have a life-size slave Princess Leia.
Ooh.
Oh my God!
trade-
Is it chained to your bed? Tara, help me!
Well, that's funny. I named it Tara.
God,
She's not going to come out on camera with a Princess Leia outfit on, is she?
I'd pay money.
wow. So one stirring the one stirring. I thought it said one stirring the potato because it runs it all together. One stirring the potato asked, "Do you think people who want to be resellers will burn out and there will be a pullback in the number of sellers?" I've seen an increase in 20 years. I think there's always going to be new people. We live in a shitty economy. We live in a new day and age. It's very online. I think there's going to be an increase. I mean, do I think old people are going to see a Jim? Oh, he just got in trouble. He just left.
You got Tara.
She just pulled on it. She just pulled on his Jabba the Hutt chain. So I think there's gonna be people leaving. There's gonna be people that aren't gonna make it, and there's gonna be people that are gonna make it. And ultimately, those that are good at this business are going to succeed, and they're going to stick around. They're going to find a way to make a living. But it's, and it's the thing that nobody talks about in these, everybody does these reselling shows and, oh, we can all do it. Anybody can do it. No, not everybody can do it.
No.
Not everybody's good at research. Not everybody's good at knowledge retention. Not everybody's good at being able to be a risk taker and shoot from your gut. Not everybody is good at being somewhat extroverted, because I'm sorry, you have to, even if you're an introverted person, you have to find your extroverted side sometimes to get into people's garages and attics and drawers, to get into their drawers. But you have to ask, and you have to have a certain amount of that. And if not, yet you can still be successful, but it's going to be hard. So it's ultimately it's the perfect combination of kind of everything, or at least finding a niche or a niche or whatever you want to call it, and going that direction and just becoming extremely good at it.
Yeah. I think there will always be resellers. I think there will always be new resellers, but I think there will also realize they're not good at it. So you're always going to have, if 100 people decide to do something and 10 people are actually good at it, 90 people are going to fall off. I think we're in that cycle all the time. So, there's a lot of people that like to call themselves resellers. They're not really resellers. They're doing it as a hobby.
Well, Reseller Rockefeller just said, I think technology is going to hurt us in the years to come with all these apps and other sites, making it much easier for regular people to sell their stuff. But you also agreed to a point a minute ago, why do people sell clothing? To me, that says technology is going to make it so much easier. I mean, if you just sit and look at it, and I don't know, maybe it's experience, but I'm seeing more and more people doing videos about clothing and more people putting clothing on there. Clothing prices dropping. So me personally, I pick on clothing. If it's vintage, if it's valuable, if it's designer, I'll still pick it up and mess with it. If it's, especially like vintage military stuff, that's something that I just kind of like, because I like the cool factor of it. But when it comes to regular everyday clothing, the writing's kind of already on the wall. The markets have fallen. over the last several years tremendously. The market has become semi-flooded because you're going to have that, like we talked about earlier, Reseller Rockefeller. There's that certain amount of people that are just going to be lazy and look for the easy way out.
Well, I mean, let's just sit back and examine the market. Levi's jeans were selling for $30 a piece 2 years ago. They're $15 now.
Yep.
Hawaiian shirts, I was getting $40 to $50 a piece. I'm lucky if I can get $30 a piece.
Now he has to wear them.
I don't mind wearing them. There's another group that focuses a lot on tiki items. Tiki items, the rare stuff always sells good, but the average everyday tiki stuff has come way down because once it starts getting out there that the stuff is really good, again, and a lot of other resellers throw it on there, it lowers the price. Nothing wrong with that. That's just a supply and demand situation there. But if you're the type of reseller that's going to go by what is hot and what's selling, you got to be in front. You got to be the guy that's in front of the curve. You can't be behind the curve because if you do that, you're paying too much money for it, and you're not getting what everybody else was getting it for it 6 months ago. So, in my opinion, like I said, I think clothing is going to die or come down to where it's a market makes sense, where what thrift stores are charging or what everybody else is buying them for. You're not going to see the money that makes it sense to buy clothing anymore. But I think antiques, collectibles, things like that are always going to be a good purchase because what's rare here might still be rare across the country. I mean, Star Wars 1777 stuff is going to be rare no matter where you get it from. You know, sterling silver bowls are going to be good no matter what you buy. But, you know, buying Hawaiian shirts, yeah, they're still going to be decent, but they're not going to be worth what they used to be worth.
Yeah.
I think getting back to the skill set, when you were talking about, you have a lot of competition in there. I think people overestimate their competition because I'll use a quick example. I don't want to get into it, but that Smart Post thing. I mean, you're overestimating the ability of the competition. But going into places that have been picked over, I can't tell you how many times I've gone into an estate sale on the second day when it's supposed to be all picked over, and there it is just laying there.
Yeah.
Everybody's walked past the whole weekend. Or in an auction, like you were saying, Eric, step up and pay more. We're going to put up the video from the last auction we're at. There's this bar glass washing machine. I recognize it had value. Not a lot of value. It's about $200, but I paid about $25 for it. For me, that's a little bit more. It's a little high on an auction. But I also bought this pair of Mercury tube banjo barometers for $2.50 a piece. In the barometer. So for $2.50, that's your starting point. They're in bad shape, but it's all going to be profit. So there's still great deals to be had. I'm in a room full of people. Any one of them could have been on those barometers, but nobody raised their hand. I don't know if it was because they thought they looked ugly or what. But there's still to be had. It's like the American show. Those guys are always talking. Well, we will go into places that have been picked over places. Because the guy before you or the woman before you may have no idea what was sitting there. You've got the knowledge. Don't underestimate yourself.
Well, that's what kills me is, I mean, I'll go to an auction and I'll buy a box and nobody's bidding on it, so I get it for $3 and I'm like, do you guys not recognize what's in it? It just drives me crazy. Like, that's a $50 or $75 box. I paid $3 for it.
I'll give you a really good example. The other night at that auction, I bid $7.50. They had this box full of crap. Actually, that wasn't in there. But they had this box of crap right here, and nobody would bid on it. Nobody would give it a $5 opening bid. Well, then they threw another box with it, which was a vintage laser tag set with 2 helmets and 2 laser tags and all that. And they're like, okay, we're going to put this with it. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah, because I've been waiting on that item. And somebody bid on it at $5, and I went, they tried to get 10, and I did the half mark. And that's one of those things. If you go to auctions, you got to kind of learn that. If you do it, 99% of most auctioneers know that mark, and that means I don't want to do 10, but cut it in half. But I mean, there was some decent. I mean, it's not home run, but this was just a freebie on top of the laser tag. Brand new sealed Hobbit, Hoosiers the movie, San Diego Chicken. I'm not going to show all this crap, but San Diego Chicken, 1980 Boy Scout Camporee, which those are always actually good. There's some miscellaneous PC games. There's this California Jammin', which is a an aftermarket. It's not an actual license plate. There's one of those, generic that when you pre-ordered the VHS or whatever for Beauty and the Beast, which Beauty and the Beast is hot right now, and you get the 4 free lithographs. There was a horoscope game in here, which is actually, Eric looked it up. It's worth about $30. $30
plus shipping, about $40. So yeah.
Oh, do you have a penis poster? Well, I want to know. Do you have a poster with a penis on it?
No, that was actually my white background that I lay down in the back when I put down dirty stuff. And there was this. Dun, 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 dun. But if you look closely, it's the penis up there in the castle. Which I don't know if it's, it's kind of folded. It's kind of creased. It was already jacked up. As a matter of fact, halfway home, I think it was folded in half.
It's probably worth $30 or $40. Everybody on eBay wants $200 for them, but nobody's selling them. So you gotta figure out what it's really worth to people.
But this was a total sleeper box, and I think, and the problem is, if somebody got it for $5, and I don't know if that guy would have actually gone down to $250, I probably could have done half or whatever. But I hadn't previewed this box, but you had a $30 board game. You'd have had a, believe it or not, that's Railroad Tycoon 2 for the PC. It's worth about $10. You'd had some movies that you probably could have stuck out there at, $6.99 free shipping and made $4 or $5. I don't know if those lithographs, they were pretty generic back then or worth a thing. You got a poster that's worth $30. San Diego chicken that's worth $10 or $15. I mean, you got $60, $70 worth. The Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six probably would have ended up in a yard sale pile. The little NASCAR handheld, I looked it up, and it was like $7.99 on a good day. Don't try to chase every dime, though. Pick out the couple of items. You paid $5 for the box. Sell the poster. Sell that. Sell the chicken. That's kind of a novelty item. The California Jammin' thing, there weren't any listed, so I would probably stick it up at $24.99, or best offer, vintage, and be done with it. And you got $60, $70, $80 worth of stuff in that box that you paid $5 for. But don't try to chase every dime that's in there. If it's true crap, throw it away.
Throw it away, redonate it, whatever. Unless you have trouble sourcing or your funds are limited, then there's okay. It's still stuff to list and stuff to sell.
If you have nothing else to list and nothing else to sell,
I don't list things.
By all means, list it. Yeah.
Yeah, Dusty, if that poster's all jacked up, I'd just keep it, just hang it in your bathroom or something.
Now I'm thinking it needs to go, although I might just have to do it upside down up there so the penis is always showing right there. Put it in my bathroom. Put it in my son's room.
Interest.
But yeah, I mean that's the thing about auctions. So auctions gives you, every time they bring something out, it gives you an opportunity to pick up stuff cheap. It's that simple. I mean, I will never stop buying from auctions. I mean, I actually passed up. I sent Jason the link. I don't know if you ever checked that link out I sent you, Jason.
I glanced it real quick. I didn't get a chance.
Yeah, I mean, we look at auctions all the time.
Their stores are great, and they're good for supplementing, but auctions are where it's at. I mean, that's where you're going to get your tonnage.
Yeah, either live auctions, online auctions, or storage unit auctions is where your money can be made at. Storage units are a little bit more difficult.
Oh, you have a lot of chaff.
Yeah, you have a lot of crap that you pick up with a storage unit, but live auctions you get to selectively buy, especially if there's a lot of auction companies that buy storage units and then they just drop it on a table and say, here, buy this stuff.
Hey, we're moving on up now.
Ooh.
All right.
I just opened my fridge, and thank you, Scott Zilke, wherever you are, for leaving that in my fridge. There's only one, though.
But yeah, you got to get out there, and my one piece of advice is stop going to thrift stores. Just take 2 weeks off at thrift stores, get on Auction Zip and see what's around you, and go to a live auction for God's sakes.
But there's some auctions, like today I was talking to my buddy that's a junk guy that I dealt with for years, and he goes, hey, you remember the auction that used to be at the VFW in this little podunk town or whatever? And I was like, yeah, the one that closed. But he's like, well, they moved it, and it's in something Alabama. And I'm like, where the hell is that? And he's like, I don't know, but we're gonna go sell stuff there. And And so I said, well, where is it? And he gave me an address. He gave me a phone number to call the lady. And I'm like, that would actually probably be a decent auction. And I went and searched auctions it, and it's not showing up at all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some stuff you're going to find through word of mouth and just doing research.
Yeah. I mean, I said, I never went to, I've lived in this town, back in this town for 5 years, almost actually 4 years. And I only started going to this one auction company that I've been going to for the last 6 months because I'd heard about them. It's a huge auction company. I just didn't think they dealt in the type of stuff I wanted to deal with. I thought they were mainly, high-end antiques and things like that, which is I can't make any money on. Right. And then I had a buddy tell me, hey, you got to go check that place out when they do their household auctions. Because I make so much money off the household auctions, I don't have to buy the high-end stuff. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, okay. So I checked out, and I make a ton of money doing it. And that's one of the few live auctions I still go to.
Damn, that's a good beer. For yellow beer. Hats off to the Canadian. I feel like I should sing the Canadian. What's the Canadian national anthem?
Oh, Canada.
God Save the Queen or something?
God save the Queen.
Oh, Canada.
No disrespect to my Canadian friends. I'm just so politically incorrect.
Reseller Rockefeller says he advertises via an online and local paper that he buys estates. He gets whole households of stuff. After you actually liquidate the larger items of furniture, you've already made your money back. But you got to have deep pockets to do that, Reseller Rockefeller. I mean,
well,
that's just the nature of the game.
You got to have deep pocket. Okay, he's actually buying them. But, there's also the possibility of going in and starting an estate sale company. In order to do that, though, I think you really definitely have to have a knowledge base. Like and I've talked about that and thought about that and not to spill any beans, but Jim and I have talked about that. I would still be nervous because my knowledge on a lot of things like depression glass is kind of, so I would feel like we would need
sucks. That's easy. Depression glass sucks.
Unmarked antiques. Usually I can figure them out, but I guess let me rephrase that. Generic things like glassware where you really have to have a knowledge because there aren't any markings.
Yeah, if you got to know patterns. Patterns is a big thing on glassware. Right. I don't deal in glassware. If it's not marked, I don't buy it. I actually was going to buy a box of Fit today and I forgot about it. I don't know what it sold for, but it was really nice stuff, and I meant to buy it. And I don't normally buy glassware, but it was a really good box. But
Silverhair Stacker had a good point, though. Why buy estates when you can buy from estate buyers? I kind of agree. Like another one of the guys that I deal with buys estates, and he's done things like, hey, there was a point, I can't remember if I did a video on it or not, about a year and a half ago where he called me and he said, hey, I bought this from the attorney. The guy died with no next of kin. It went to probate. The attorney put in charge of it. I bought the whole house. It's been shut up. The guy did not die in this house, although there have been other houses like that. But the guy didn't die in the house, but it has been shut up for about a year. So it's kind of smelly. There was stuff still in the fridge, and the power got shut off. And I'm like, I don't care. And he's like, but I'm going to get my crew up here and haul it out if you want to come pick through it. And I mean, you want to talk about fun as hell? You got first shot. I mean, he hadn't even been through it. You got first shot at dresser drawers. And I'm sorry, if sticking your hand in a top dresser drawer full of underwear and feeling around, because that's where people hide money and guns and dildos a lot of times too. But y'all know what I'm talking about. But if that grosses you out, in the fact of like walking out of a house after 4 hours completely soaked through your clothes, then no, that's probably not the right business for you. Oh, hold on, I gotta respond to something.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing. I mean, they're talking about in the chat. Reseller Rockbro talks about, if you're buying it from a reseller, you're buying already second pick. But most of those guys who buy estates aren't selling online. They're flipping quick because they're getting that money to work from them. Not everybody, but most of them. Very few people who buy out the whole estate are going to shove it online. So you can actually come in and you pay a little bit more, but you're still getting it at a really good price.
Yeah. I mean, I've bought whole estates before, and it's more of a pain in the ass half the time. You got to haul all that
It's
shit
like
out.
buying a giant storage unit. You got to deal with all the crap that you don't want to mess with, as well as the stuff you want to buy.
Yep.
It's a lot like buying a storage unit. You're gonna get a lot of chaff.
So, I mean, if you don't mind donating, I mean, that's the thing. Most people, they just want to suck every little penny of profit out of there. And so you end up with, 25 bags of clothing, and you're like, okay, I can sell this clothing for $5 a piece. And like, oh, it's a lot of money, but it's a lot of work. It's not worth the work to the money. So you're better off just donating crap like that and just pick the cherry stuff.
Silver Hair Stacker said, right, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Buy from buyers. I mean, everything I bought today, the $810 came from a really good connection that does storage units that gives me first call. I mean, I'm not going to lie, at 9 o'clock this morning, the morning show goes from 8 to 10. At 9 o'clock this morning, if y'all notice, I turned my camera off. That's because I was taking a shower. I just gotten a text that said, hey, got some shit in, think you might be interested in it. So I turned my camera off. I went and took a shower really, really fast and came back, turned my camera on and talked for a minute. And I was like, guys, I got to go, because it was literally one of those, if you're there first when they call and you show up with the cash. And I showed up with $420 in cash because I didn't know what they had. And fortunately, there's a couple of banks within, short driving distance. And so I had to go get another 400. But at the end of the day, I mean, we figured up it's like $3,000 worth of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I was the same way.
Brand new, bulletproof, good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I went to the auction day with $300, and I usually spend between $200 and $300 at this auction. And I'm like, no big deal. I got my PayPal card with me, and I hadn't planned on spending $420. I'm like, but that's fine. I mean, the money's there, and I probably would have spent more except if I hadn't pulled out the two silver bowls. I'm like, oh hell, there's $250 in my money back right away. I can spend another $250.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of thought about the whole process. I wasn't thinking, oh crap, I've spent $400. I was thinking, okay, really, I spent $200 because I know I got immediate cash coming right back. I can list these tonight and they'll sell tonight.
Resale Rockefeller said, when I buy estates, I have buyers that are ready to buy all the furniture. That I have a flea market guy. They're buying all the low end items. Then I'm left with all the good stuff. And if you have those connections, that works good. I have people that'll take every mattress and every piece of furniture and every appliance that I get. Jim and I were talking about this the other day. I said, when he said, your thrift stores here suck. And I said, yeah. We were talking about, okay, what if, getting back into storage units and all that. And I can give Jim the connections, or he's made some of the connections already, of literally how to flip the big stuff. Like, pull out the crap you want, take all the trash and all the smalls, and then you just send them a picture with a text message and say, here's what I got. And I mean, it's to that point, I do everything with text messages with them now. And, I'll take $200 for everything. And if you'll be here in 30 minutes and bring cash, and they will. And they'll just show up in their truck and do it.
Again, just make sure you leave a little meat on the bones for them.
And yes, I'm fortunate in that aspect, but it's also, it can be done anywhere. It's about building those relationships. It took me, the one guy that I dealt with today, I've known for 11 years, as long as we've been in Huntsville. And he said it was 11 years. I don't think it's been that long, but I guess we have been here. And Tristan I wish Tristan was here. She'd correct me because I always get dates wrong. But, it's been 11 years of a relationship. And him telling me today, man, I appreciate your business. You're my biggest buyer, and that's why he calls me first, because I dropped what I was doing this morning. I didn't want to go buy shit today. I didn't want to spend $800 today. But I needed to, I've got stuff here that I needed to list that I'm still working on from the last 2 loads. But you got to be there and do it,
Well, if you don't drop everything and go, one, he's going to move on to the next person for that particular buy.
Yep.
But you don't know if you're going to get the first call next week.
That's the biggest thing is if you don't build that relationship now and don't answer that phone call every single time, eventually you stop getting those calls.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that simple, because you're not reliable anymore. But if you answer that call every time and you pay up when you get there, you're going to get cherry picking every single time.
This one time in a bar parking lot,
even if it's free, you'll get that. I mean, because before I was doing reselling, I mean, I'd get people would call and they'd say, "Well, I got this stuff or whatever." I come, great, I'll come pick it up. even if it might be junk when you get there, but at least they know, because that time it's junk, but the next time it could be something real nice. And a lot of times it was something real nice, but you got to get on your horse, you got to get over there and get that stuff, or else they're going to call somebody else and you're not going to get it. You know, and you become the go-to guy, you know, for when they have something that's like, well-to-do people like doctors, lawyers, they have nice stuff in their yard, or they're like, hey, you know, come get this lawnmower. It runs. I just don't need it anymore. Bam, you're on there. If they call you, it'll be out of their yard, and you're the go-to person.
Oh yeah.
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 And a lot of times the stuff is free. They don't even want any money for it. Just get out of here.
Yeah, you're doing them a service by just,
you gotta go.
yeah, by just showing up and taking the stuff off their hands. They don't have to worry about it.
Yep.
You sound so.
But
tough.
you got to show up.
Piggly Wiggly shirt on. I just want
You know what? But you know what though? I was just before the show started. He came on. And I was like, "That shirt is freaking awesome." And I said, "And Jim's got a Piggly Wiggly, and we do as well. That's fairly close." And I like shopping. I support small independent grocers, I guess, because my dad was one, and they tend to run better sales. And you know, they'll put their small independent grocers are the kind that'll like push out a whole cart full of cereal that's going to go out of date in a month, and they'll be like 4 for $1, and you find crap like that. And they have this whole rack of like Piggly Wiggly t-shirts, and I'm like, now I've got to go buy one.
I'm going to show you the back. Hold on. I'm going to show you the back of it. It says, it's tailgate your ass off. It's got the
I
big...
can see it's your ass, but that's okay.
all we saw is a thong, Jim.
Oh, okay.
Hey, you're whale tailing there, buddy.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, I do have a little bit of... Wait, you can see my tramp stamp. It says exit only.
It says cabin fever. What's the name of that whiskey? Cabin what?
Cabin Still. I actually looked up the rating on. It's not rated that bad actually. It's actually got a pretty decent following of that stuff. So.
It's made in Bardstown, Kentucky. I mean, it's good whiskey country.
Yeah, so I mean,
it's bourbon.
Nothing wrong with it. Like I said, it's just a matter of, you know, you got to like the taste. So
it's all right. I prefer Rebel Yell.
Oh yeah, because that's probably an upgrade.
It is. It's $10 a bottle upgrade. The difference between Cabin Still and Rebel Yell is $10.
Well, I said the average price of Cabin Still is $11 a fifth.
Yeah. Well, the same type of Cabin Still, I think, was $17. The 175 of Rebel Yell is like $28. So.
Let's see, Rebel Yell. Let's get the old review here. It's got a little raisin taste to it. I don't think I like that.
Yeah.
Actually, believe it or not, the Rebel Yell is actually rated worse than the Cabin Still.
Really?
Yeah, it's a 71 out of 100 on the whiskey sites, and Rebel Yell was 76.
Yeah, they're just mad because they took away the Confederate flag.
And that could be it.
I don't need the flag. The flag's in my heart.
Ooh, Angela Fishing for Treasure said in August, my aunt is letting me go into her attic and clean it out. She's in her 80s. I'm so excited to see what goodies I get to take. Heck yeah. Just remember when you clean out an elderly relative's attic, don't let eBay overpower your sense of like
propriety.
Yeah, because my dad, I helped my parents, and my dad has all his Cub Scout and Boy Scout stuff from the 1950s. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, Dad, you were that little, that's awesome. And Mom's like, you're not selling that on eBay. You know, that was your dad's. I mean, he had the little camper-y t-shirts that, you know, are like this big for only 7 years old. And I'm sitting there going, that's a $50 bill on eBay.
I had the same experience when I was at my dad's house, and he for Thanksgiving dinner last year, and him and his wife bring out the good silverware, and it's Rothschild's pattern sterling silverware.
Oh,
and this stuff sells for a fork is like $40, a spoon is like $38, and these are sold for each individual piece. I'm sitting there looking at a 12-piece setting, and I'm just like, is it wrong to wish for an inheritance? I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's bad, but and that's a piece of silverware that's worth more as a pattern than it is as actually just scrap silver. I was just amazed. I'm sitting there eating this, like I'm eating with like $400 worth of silverware, so it was just crazy. But
Silver Hair Stacker said, was talking to Rockefeller and said, I was just offered a private pick from a buyer, but not yet because he has to clear a walking space in his storage barn. That's where you go. That's where, me personally, and this is with some of my storage unit buyers, they literally know that I will help them unload if I can go through each box. As their guys will take it off of the trailer and set it down. I'll go through each box really quickly. You know, and it's a box full of clothing. You can skim, close it back up, move it to the next guy that moves it over there, and they make money as it's being, but I'll help unload it as well. And so that's not a bad idea to offer to, well, let me help you. Let me come and help you.
Yeah, that's actually the best way.
First shot at it that way.
And really, and be open when you get deals like that. Be open with people. They know what you're buying. Well, they know you're gonna buy it to resell. Otherwise, they wouldn't have offered it to you. You know, but be honest. Like, that's not great. So, oh, that's a really good item. I'm kind of interested in that one. Be a little enthusiastic, and then don't call their stuff crap. But you know what the crap is. So you kind of shove that to the side. Say, I'm not really interested in that. Great donation stuff, or you might be able to find a buyer for that type of stuff. But you can't just go in and just cherry pick every little thing. You're gonna have to buy some crap to get good stuff.
I have a post office observation. I went to the post office today, and I had a package that I intended to send. There were 3 motherboards, $250 a piece. I tried to combine shipping on eBay. When I combined shipping, they would only let me do USPS. They wouldn't let me do FedEx. Well, I'd already packed the box, not bothering to turn the box inside out or anything. There's all this barcodes and all this crap on it, all this lettering. It's a recycle box. So I take it to the post office. I said, if I have to cross all this stuff out with a magic marker, I will. But can I ship? Because I had to do a post office to combine shipping to get insurance. Because if I did FedEx, I'd have to do, because there were 3 different motherboards. I would only be able to insure it for $250. It's actually $750 worth of stuff. I take it to the post office. I asked the girl at the post office, because it's priority, do I have to scratch any of this stuff off? She said no. She said, because I will. I said, I'll take it home and cross the stuff or lock it out if I have to. She said, as long as it's priority, you don't have to. I get in trouble with the smart post, but on this one, the lady from the post office did tell me as long as it's priority, it can have markings on the outside of the box. There's some trivia for you.
The Jim with the poop hat.
Yeah.
Didn't you want to talk about current events or something? Or
yeah, nice transition there, Jason.
Well, we like baby steps.
Yeah.
So you were saying that Smart Post.
Yeah, that's a big thing that kind of went through the community.
The reselling community. I hate the freaking buzzword.
Is dropping off your Smart Post at post offices, USPS. Apparently, everybody thinks it's okay to do, and they're all full of shit. End of story. Ran over.
Oh man!
Wow.
I just want to know when you click Smart Post and you buy the label, and the first screen that pops up says, "Please drop it at one of these couple locations," and neither one of them are a post office. Why do you people think it's okay to drop it at the post office?
In red letters.
Right.
I don't get that. I get it if your post office sucks or your FedEx office is 100 miles away, then you don't ship fucking Smart Post.
Oh, he just dropped that. I've never heard you drop that.
That's insane, because anybody that's doing that, all they're going to do is they're going to ruin Smart Post for the people who are doing it right.
Yep.
It's good. That and you're paying for a service that it's multiple fold. Number one, with Smart Post, it's only insured while it's in FedEx's hands. So if you hand it to the post office, it's probably never going to touch FedEx's hands. Yes, there are some, and this was pointed out the other day, there are some post offices where FedEx picks it up once or twice a week. And if the postal employee is smart enough to catch it, which most of them are going to scan, there's 2 barcodes on there. One's kind of a FedEx thing, one's that's a smart post. Damn, well, fire tonight. The one that's kind of a smart, that's a, what the, wow.
One barcode for FedEx Ground, the other one is a parcel post.
Yeah, and if you skip the FedEx portion of it, no, you have no insurance. I mean, although given with Smart Post, once it's handed off to the post office, apparently there's, from everything I could read by reading through all the nerdy wording and the tariffs, legal stuff on FedEx, no, there's really not anything once they hand it off to the post office. But you're skipping the whole thing. Like, for instance, for me, FedEx Ground from here to Georgia is guaranteed 1-day service. So if I do Smart Post from here to Georgia, it's guaranteed to get it. I mean, they're going to ship it. It's not guaranteed, but they're going to ship it at the same rate, that same ground speed from here to Georgia. So I know it's going to get there in 1 day before it gets handed off to the post office. If you drop it off at the post office, that same package, it's going to go parcel post, because they're going to scan the parcel post. They're going to treat it. And parcel post is like, people don't even ship that way anymore. It's that bad anymore.
Yeah.
So it could potentially take forever and ever and ever. The example that was given in kind of a rebuttal video was, well, look, it got there, it got here, it got whatever. But at the same time, you've also probably confused the eBay. I mean, I would want to go back and check and double check. I mean, you just don't, it's not worth the hassle to go back and check and double check with eBay, because eBay has a tracking number in there that's more of a generic whatever. It's not looking for that second tracking number. It's it's if you look at how it works, if you track a Smart Post package, it gets handed off. The tracking number are kind of intertwined, but it kind of changes a little bit. And it's just, it's not, just do it right. Just do it right. Why would you pay for a good FedEx service and then hand it to the post office as parcel post?
Right.
That's the whole long roundabout gist of the whole thing.
Well, I had a Smart Post package mixed in with a bunch of first class and priority mail stuff. And I went to the post office back in North Carolina after hours, which I always did, dropped it all in a box, all on their drop bin thing. And I got back to the car and I'm like, oh shit, where's my FedEx? And it was gone. And I'm like, oh fuck, So 3 weeks later, the guy sends me a message saying, hey, I didn't receive this item yet. What can we do? And I look up the tracking and it's blank. And I'm like, well, I don't know, And then I realize, oh shit, that's this package that I sent through the post that's supposed to go to FedEx first. And then so I said, let's just give it a few days. Just contact me back if you still haven't gotten it by this date. And he let a week go by and he still didn't have it. And I'm like, I'm just going to refund your money, because I don't know when it's coming in. It was like $24 or $26. And so I refunded his money. And 2 weeks later, he PayPal'd me back the money and say, hey, it finally got here. So 6 weeks it took to get from North Carolina to Nevada, because I fucked up. So that's why you don't do Smart Post to the post office.
Because you what?
No.
I fucked up.
But do whatever the hell you want, people.
I just want to hear you drop the F-bomb twice. You did what?
I fucked up
3 times.
Yeah.
So
now, Jim, didn't you have something
not
about
my channel.
Ashley's calling me to the living room. Hold on, she's begging me to go there. So it's probably a bug or something. Hold on.
Uh-oh. Wear a condom or you'll end up with 3 more kids. Oh, I'm gonna catch hell for saying that one.
I don't ship. I don't ship Smart Post anymore. I used to ship Smart Post all the time. And then I ordered something I got from Smart Post. And I ordered something from Findlay, Ohio, which is 3 hours away.
It was the same tape that I ordered from the same person. You live in Ohio.
I live in Ohio. I could have drove and picked it up. It was a 6-hour round tripper. It took 6 days to get to me.
Mine took 8 days.
Yeah. So 6 days to go 3 hours. And what was worse is it hit the post office smart post sorting facility, which is apparently a totally different facility, and it sat there for 5 days before it finally made it to me. And I'm like, wow, I did not realize how bad that really was. I've never shipping smart post again.
See, this is why I don't buy from sellers that have free shipping.
What? Wanted to go there,
Wow,
didn't you? Just wanted to go there, didn't you?
Where's Jim?
So, wow. So, the thing that people don't realize, I think, is, priority mail is not guaranteed, but they're pretty damn close on their estimates when they say, 1 to 2 days to this zone, 3 to 4 days to this zone. They're pretty dang good. Media mail, I will tell you, they have done incredible with media mail. It used to suck, but they've done incredible over the last couple of years. With FedEx and with UPS, if they tell you guaranteed in X amount of days, that is actually considered a service guarantee. If you claim on that, you can actually get your money back. If it's not there in time, you get your shipping costs back. So, FedEx Home, FedEx Ground, UPS Ground, Priority are pretty safe, and it's a crapshoot with SmartPost. It's really, for me, I shipped something the other day, and it was going to be, I don't know, $1.25 more to send it FedEx home delivery than it was SmartPost. But I was like, you know what? My customer's worth $1.25 on this $50 item or $60 item.
I have found that when I look at the SmartPost, what I realize, I start to justify it to myself, like, oh, I can save $1 or $2, and it's usually because I screwed up and I want to put a little bit more profit in my pocket. But I've just got to that point where, like, you know what, I really don't care. I should have probably charged a little bit more for that.
Right.
I'm not going to make my customer pay for the fact that I screwed up on my shipping. I would rather you get it in 2 days and I get a great feedback for how fast I ship, as opposed to it took 8 days to get here and now I'm kind of pissy because it took 8 days to get here. So I'm going to start looking for any reason to return it.
All my listings, or I should say 90% of my listings, or over 90% of my listings, say SmartPost as a shipping thing. And the reason we do that is we almost always ship Priority or FedEx Ground. We very rarely use SmartPost unless we absolutely have to. Once in a while we do because we have to. I want to tell you, people are so happy because you under-promised and over-delivered. I mean, if you look at my feedback, it's all, super fast shipping. Can't believe it's that fast. Because they expected it like 3 or 4 days out further, and then they get it, it's like, oh my God, this thing only took 1 or 2 days. All the time. It works great.
I'm lucky, right in the middle of the country for the most part. I mean, a little bit more east, but, I have standard shipping. I don't put any other shipping in there but standard shipping. So it's usually like a 5-day guarantee, but most of my stuff arrives within 2 to 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah, and ours, because we're in the middle. We're in the middle of the U.S.
You know what one of those ding things was?
Yeah.
It was a message, an inquiry from Amazon customer Mark Nutter. I hope that email finds you well. My name is Mark, and I'm a pro Amazon seller just like you. I'd like to invite you to our fast-growing Amazon seller community on Facebook, where we share our selling strategies and secrets, accounts, and popular services for Amazon sellers, grouped by different SEO tools, blah, blah, blah. Here's a link to our Facebook group, which is called Amazon Sellers Community. Go screw yourself, Mark Nutter. Because now I have to mark that as no response needed, and then I can actually get you in trouble. If
I sent you a question about a product that you didn't respond to.
It can hurt your response time if you mark too many of those. Although I think Amazon's getting smarter with that because there's so many people spamming. But Mark Nutter, go screw yourself. I don't want to join your Amazon group, and you don't need to spam me through Amazon. So there you go.
I mean, that's why I don't really care for Amazon. But although eBay will affect you if you don't answer your customers as well.
It'll hurt your Cassini, yeah.
If you ignore your customer, I don't know how many times I've had a conversation with a customer like, all right, I appreciate it, thanks a lot, and then they'll say, hey, no problem, I appreciate it. They're sending you another thing. You're like, damn it, so I gotta. All right, great, no problem. And then they'll answer you again. You're like, would you stop talking to me so I can stop answering your questions?
Yeah, because it comes up as an unanswered question that drives me nuts. they send you the word thanks. It's all like, oh crap, what do I do? Say thanks back? This
No,
is
thank you.
yeah. Well, I did. I'm responding because I need to show that question's been responded to, so it takes it off my list of questions to respond
Yeah.
to. Thanks,
I
but
know
you
you
don't
can mark it
respond.
as answered and everything, but I don't think it carries the same weight personally. But that's just me.
Asked and answered. Yeah. Sometimes I mean, I literally had to tell people because they won't stop. I mean, we go back like 5 or 6 times. It's like, okay, this is funny, but this is screwing up my Cassini here.
Yeah, Barry Worth had a good point. Dimensions small enough. USPS cubic rate will be smart post rate. If y'all aren't familiar with USPS cubic rate, you'll have to Google it, but you're going to have to basically have an Indicia account or one of the stamps.com, I think, might support it, but you can't do it through PayPal shipping or eBay shipping. I know that. I don't think, unless they've changed it. But it's basically, if you have a box that's under, don't quote me on this. I did a ton of reading on it about 6 months ago. I did a ton of reading again the other night because, yeah, I'm the nerd that researches stuff because that's how you grow your business. But I think it's under 6x6x5 or 6x6x6. It literally goes, it's more of a small package kind of deal, and you can get some incredibly cheap rates. You know, you could have a 10-pound block of lead that's in a 4x4x4 box, and believe it or not, ship it from me to California for probably like $6 or $7. I mean, it's that cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah, y'all. And a lot of people don't know about that. But you're going to have to not print your shipping label to eBay. You're going to have an outside.
Well, and the other thing that people don't realize is that with priority mail, 108 inches is your max number, and that's based on post office measuring.
Girth and width.
Yeah, girth, which is around the widest part, and then width.
It's just really. It's not just length. It's not just length. It's girth.
So now here's the thing: is if you have a box that's like 15 by 15 by 15, if you put those dimensions in, it's going to come back and say it's going to be this weight right here. But if you actually just leave it alone, because 15 by 15 all the way around, and then another 15 doesn't add up to 108, it's actually cheaper not to put the dimension.
Sorry, go ahead.
Never mind.
This is why I had kids. I thought I was going to get the bear.
No, Eric was telling us about 108 inches.
Okay, so go ahead with your girth story. Sorry, Eric.
No girth story. I'm just saying is you don't always have to put your dimensions in the eBay shipping system because it can sometimes get screwed up.
Something's off in their dimension thing. It'll kick stuff to like oversized that isn't oversized.
I am not drinking beer. I am drinking liquor.
Eric's good. You know what's so awesome about this is this the first time we've had Jim Carrey on before, and
I believe it is. Yes,
I think you and I've really all of us have really gotten to know each other more on the morning show when you kind of like just push your wife out of the way and come on the show, and then especially they're not on Valerie's channel. But I haven't hung out with any of this whole group. Thanks, bud. Moving on up to Miller High Life. Actually, I had one before this. We're moving up to this and then back down to this.
Bottled beers.
Do what?
It's the champagne of bottled beers.
You know, it was just a challenge the other night. We were in the gas station, and Scott Zilke and I on the way home from check out that PBR place. And I'm like, you know, we need to go. I need to get a 6-pack of something. He's like, well, I got some beers in there. I was like, well, how many do you have? He's like, 3. And I was like, well, that's good for you, but not for me. Swinging the Raceway or whatever. And I was like, what's the cheapest, nastiest? And so it's just a challenge at this point. But back to whatever the hell I was talking about, which I don't remember what it was.
Retiring anyway.
About hanging out with Jim.
Okay, Jim is totally real. Jim, did you really get a booty call right in the middle of the show? Either that or we've carried it too far and he's in trouble now.
I don't know. Maybe Jim and Jason both got a booty call in the middle of the show. I mean,
maybe Jim and Jason. Okay, never mind.
Oh, Jason's probably tucking right now, so we have to kind of get.
The other Jim is Sans booty. I'm getting no booty call.
Is your wife sitting like 10 feet in front of you, listening to all this on her laptop?
No, yes.
Yeah, she's been commenting on it. Tara actually said he's on beer 6 or 7 now, so this might go south. It went south a long time ago, so.
Yeah. Because I'm fixed on switching to cabin still now.
Apparently our chaperones have left the building, so we're in good shape. But
that's true.
I'm going to switch to whiskey and ice cubes.
Whiskey and ice cubes.
That's right.
I drink not whiskey straight up on the rocks. It's whiskey and ice cubes.
Yep. That's my mix.
I gotta have a little lemon lime pop with my whiskey. You know, that's just me. I can't drink it straight because it hits me way too hard. Apparently, Jim's out making more kids because he's got extra space now.
Yeah, what does that take? 7.5 minutes?
Were you tucking, Jason?
Yeah, I just cracked open a cranberry seltzer now.
Wow.
If Bennett's making another kid, though, that shouldn't take more than 7.5 minutes.
Based on my experience.
Yeah, I got 3 kids. It takes about 7 minutes, and you're done. Come on, what's he doing?
It takes about 7 minutes to be financially indebted for the next 20 years. So yeah.
That's right at the key moment. You go, ooh, child support.
Lord.
Yeah, I wasn't making babies, if that's what you mean.
No, you're back, Jason. We're worried about the other Jim.
Oh.
Well, I just text messaged him, "Are you okay?" And I've gotten nothing.
Yeah, it's all those June bugs and fireworks got him cranked up.
He's out beating the neighbor kids with a broom right now.
We called in when I lived on this other road in our town. We're probably about 20 minutes from town. We call in this thing, shots fired. I said, hey, somebody's shooting our mailbox. I heard this big crack outside, and I saw our mailbox was wiggling, so for some reason I put it in my head, must have been a gunshot. So I said, somebody shot our mailbox. 45 minutes later, and this is why in northern Wisconsin you own guns to protect yourself, because it takes 45 minutes for the cop to get there when it's supposedly shots fired. It wasn't that, but we didn't know that. Oh, and there was bullet holes in the mailbox. I didn't know they had been there a long time. They were already in the mailbox, and we had just moved there. And so the cop looks at it and he says, well, this could be your problem. It's a broken shovel handle and some blood and broken glass on the road. What we figured that it was kids, because he said there were some knocked down mailboxes. Kids were sticking the shovel handle out the window and knocking out mailboxes. What happened was the shovel handle must have broke the window in the car, cut somebody, they bled, and then the bang is what I thought the shots fired were. It took 45 minutes for the cop to get there. I was like, oh my God.
Jim, are you okay?
Are you guys typing to each other?
No, I'm trying to reset my Netflix password. That's the big.
Wow. You came back with a hand towel over your shoulder and your hair's all messed up.
Yeah.
I don't look like a ponytail.
Just an observation.
Yeah, so he was doing a little Netflix and chill going on. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
It looks like something about Mary.
Jim, don't name it after me.
No, I was
Or you have to name it Jim Jr.
I was pulling my hair out trying to figure out the password. So.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Actually, that's pretty believable.
Uh-huh.
Only number 1, no number 2.
Did you list all that stuff, Jason?
What, sir?
Did you list your sneaker haul?
No, I didn't even finish cataloging it yet.
Wow.
We're up to 110 pairs of sneakers.
Oh my God.
I knew it was big, but
I got kicks for days.
too bad none of them fit, right?
I know they're all like some like baby size, 8.5.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're like 8.5 to 9. I'm like, wow, I really could be interested in a couple of those, but yeah, I can get my toe in them.
I thought those basketball players had like size 14, 15 feet.
Also, what is a size 7Y?
That's like an Oompa Loompa size, isn't it?
No, what's the Y stand for?
No, I don't.
Youth.
Oh, youth. Men's
Youth.
shoes switch at about 6 or 7. I can't remember.
No, they don't. No. Men's shoes do not switch.
No,
Now,
but
men-
you go from youth at about a 6 or a 7 into
Youth goes
men.
from 6.
They overlap for about a size or so.
Yeah,
Women's,
6
no.
youth is like a 5 in men's.
Guys, back up.
Hold on, Piggly
This
Wiggly.
is a hot
Piggly
topic, everyone.
Piggly Wiggly speaking.
Male shoes do not switch. Female shoes switch. Because when you're a female, if you're a little girl and you get a size 6 girl's shoe, that's actually a size 7.5 woman's.
No, but they dropped the Y at some point at least. I mean, I think
they could be
7 Y, and then it's like 8. Probably start at 8 now.
Because a boy size 6 and a man size 6 is the same size shoe.
I thought they were a size different.
Nope,
So do y'all really have Piggly Wiggly up there in Wisconsin?
we don't. Milwaukee area. I don't know even where the hell we got this shirt.
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. No, I'm sure a local thrift store.
So it's a
Oh, I
men-
did. I got it from that one where I went to that nativity. Yeah. We have a church-run thrift store where they don't. Well, they try to check stuff on eBay, but they're really bad at it. They actually had a bag sale. I saw this thing on the rack and I grabbed it.
See, and that's the kind of stuff when you find a thrift store that's bad at it. That's the kind of stuff that you can make money off of.
That's the one where we got that chess clock where you hit the timer when you're done making your move or whatever. That's the thrift store we got that. So. But I mean, some of their stuff is just crazy price. I mean, they just got just insane prices on stuff because they're looking at asking, not getting, and they don't know how to navigate it and stuff.
The average selling price for a used Piggly Wiggly T-shirt is about $15 shipped.
Oh, cool! So I know when I want to check my oil, I can wipe off the stick on the shirt and I don't have to worry about it.
But it's back to I don't mean to bash on clothing, but there's money like graphic tee, finding stuff unusual like that. I mean, I've done really good with like such and such a bar, Boca Raton, Florida, or whatever. That's maybe vintage, but it's not having the everyday run of the mill average stuff. And I think there's just too many resellers that get into the it's Polo Ralph Lauren, it's gonna be great. Well, no, it's really not. If it's a blue men's dress shirt and there's a gazillion of them out there. Did Jim just leave again?
Yeah. We found a couple of Ramones T-shirts that look somewhat vintage. I think they're worth some money.
Do they have dates? They have tour dates?
I don't remember.
Yeah, Ramones T-shirts with tour dates is the key. I mean, you got to have an idea when they were on tour. I mean, I saw the Ramones back in '84, which is pretty awesome. They played down at Kings Island for a high school thing, so for a high school graduation. But
You're old as hell.
Hell yeah, I'm old.
I think 2 of the Ramones are dead now.
Yeah, Joey is dead.
I think they just lost another one too.
Yeah. I mean, great. It was a great live band.
Oh yeah, they were awesome.
Now that was 36 years ago, 37 years ago, whatever it was. But
it's funny when Jim's not in front of the camera, it looks like Waxworks.
Waxworks 2 was a great movie. Waxworks 1 was okay, but 2 was the best.
Was that the one with Paris Hilton?
One better.
They redid a Paris Hilton movie. I don't think it was Waxworks though, but Waxworks 1.
It was called House of Wax.
House of Wax.
Waxworks 1 was really good, but Waxworks 2 really tied it all together and kind of made you understand. That was with Zach something or other. I can't remember the dude's
name. Yeah, that's the guy from Gremlins.
Yeah. Right? Yep.
But the first one is great. That has one of the actors in that is one of the actors from the original Twin Peaks series.
Really? I just remember the line where the guy talks about giving the girl her first orgasm at the taste of a whip. I mean, that's like, wow, that's just something that sticks in your head when you're a 16-year-old kid. So.
Oh boy. I keep thinking about Paris Hilton's button at House of Wax.
Yeah, remember
Yeah,
she
I've
got
seen
that like
that.
spear through her chest or something.
Yeah, well, they cut her Achilles. That would freak me out. Like, you can't cut Paris there. That's messed up, man.
You can't
God,
touch
don't
Paris's-
hamstring her.
You can't touch Paris's feet.
That movie wasn't too bad either. The House of Wax.
Oh man, when she comes out of that tent wearing those they're kind of like those boy cut panties or whatever. I don't know if you remember. And she comes out of the tent wearing she's got like a button up shirt and a pair of panties. I'm not a big Paris Hilton fan, but I'm like, wow, in that light, she looks hot. I'll give it.
He's like, but I'm a big fan of boy shorts and button-up shirts.
Cameron Diaz in the Spider-Man underwear. I mean, hey.
Seems like I know where I put my Piggly Wiggly.
Oh my God, we invited Mr. Skin on the show tonight.
Okay. One time on the set of an adult movie.
One time at Ken Can.
Okay, so Jim,
Mm-hmm.
just make sure you're still here. Did you just pop open a Shasta? Was that what that was?
I did.
What?
Is it a peach Shasta? Because those are the
No.
only good ones.
It's just cola.
Or strawberry pop. Oh, dude. Oh,
Just
come
cola.
on.
Sorry. That's all I had. They had that or their Mountain Dew version.
You went to
Or-
Piggly Wiggly, didn't you? Oh, it's called
Yeah.
something Thunder. Something
Yes,
Thunder. I
like
believe.
Mountain Thunders, Mountain Light.
Mountain Thunder.
I'd rather drink the water out the back of the toilet.
Yeah, they were $2.50 for a 12-pack. So
You mean water, like out the toilet?
yeah.
Cola.
Have they quit shooting bottle rockets at your house?
Yeah, actually, so I joined a Facebook group for our community, and somebody posted to that group like, "Really, it's 9:30 at night," and then it stopped. So
So my whole plan for midnight in your driveway with the fireworks display that's a no-go.
people were asking in that group if anybody was shooting off fireworks, and
Yeah,
people were commenting.
I usually get in the local Facebook group right here is, as soon as you hear noise, everybody pops up, fireworks or gunshots, fireworks or gunshots.
Right? Yeah,
I want to join that group. Can you send me a link? I want to join.
they're gonna ask you what your address is.
I'm gonna give me your address and tell me you're my domestic partner. Bam!
Just give him Jim's address and a 1/2. 6.5.
Oh, I'm totally doing it. Hold on.
HOA people are stupid. They'll go for it.
Yeah. There's really nothing that goes on in that group besides complaining.
Oh, it's about to go on.
It's all like Donkey Kong.
So,
You know what's
Jim,
crazy?
in case y'all haven't
Post,
heard,
like, did you see that guy that just moved in over there at whatever street?
That's
That
what
looks
it
like
is.
a douche, man.
That damn Yankee that just moved in.
I hear he's got a wife and a boyfriend.
so Jim moves here, and they have this awesome like chalkboard on their dining room wall. It's the eat-in kitchen, whatever dining room. I don't know what you call it, but it's this big old chalkboard, and it says "Welcome Home." You know, the realtor, because I think when you looked at it originally, we came over with you, and they kind of staged the house a little bit or whatever. Welcome home with chalk or whatever. So the morning after y'all got in really late at night or whatever, early the next morning, we're like, hey, we'll be there at noon. And you're like, well, our unpackers aren't here. We're like, we'll hang out. And of course, you know, the first thing I do is look at this chalkboard and I'm like, oh, hell. And I said, do you have any chalk? He's like, well, yeah, there's some kids' sidewalk chalk out in the garage. I'm like, oh, shit, yeah. So I take welcome home and do welcome homo. Change the home to homo in giant letters. And that was, of course, that was one of those. But according to Jim, he hasn't forgotten about that, and paybacks are hell. So I don't really know what that means.
Yeah, I heard about that today.
I don't really know what that means, but I do carry a 9mm. So
No, nothing like that. I phase 1 is complete. I'm working on phase 2, and then there's phase 3. So
all right, so you've already phased 1 me, but I don't know it yet.
Yep. I mean, it's nothing has happened in your home yet, But
you crossed the line when you rubbed your butt on his chalkboard.
Apparently, I have
He's done where?
Apparently, I have a history of doing that. If my butt touches anything, it becomes a giant issue. So,
but your balls apparently are okay.
oh, dude, I rubbed that thing. So anyhow,
That's why it's so shiny.
Anyway.
yeah, about another beer, and I'd probably go there and just spill all the beans on that.
So somebody on the panel, please hand him a beer.
The Batwing.
This is a safe place.
This is not a safe place.
Nobody watches this shit.
Oh, trust me. You know how YouTube is. It's the whole like they said so and so. Go check it out. It's at the 63-minute, 7-second mark or whatever. No.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Remind me in the chat inside here to come back to it because I probably will get there.
You don't have to go there. We know, and that's what makes it funny.
It's like
actually, there's something that happened, and it literally was like somebody thought they were being slick on me or whatever, and I picked up on it. So I desecrated something before I did it, before I sent it, and let's just say that I did it in front of my friends and my wife and everything. And you know what? The joke is ultimately on this person. We'll just leave it there.
It's like Donald Trump inside that bus. It's everything's safe. We can talk freely here. This Bush kid seems all right. I can tell. No one will ever know.
No. No, it's probably best that no one ever knows because I enjoy the thought of him.
It's more. No, it's really. It's more. I'm the kind of. And here's my thing. I'm more the kind of like silent. Sit back, and I know I seem like a very loud person, but you know, if somebody and I get on bad terms or something happens or whatever, I'm not going to always get revenge. I don't need all that kind of crap. But if somebody keeps picking at me or keeps doing something or whatever, I'll get my secret kind of silent, you know, and I'll go there and I'll just keep it to myself. And I might say something to my closest friends or my wife or whatever, and I'll be like, you know what, last laugh was on you. It's got a good example is you know, we had some issues with a company we worked with a few years ago, and the guy screwed us over on some stuff and whatever, and so I did some things behind the scenes because I knew some stuff with his business practices and stuff like that. It was a guy that we worked for. I mean, when I say he screwed us over, he really screwed us over and bounced a lot of checks and stuff like that, and so I just did whatever I needed to do silently. And then all of a sudden one day, you know, he calls me crying and like, I'm gonna have your money and my life is in shambles. And I mean, not that spiteful. I mean, not that spiteful, but his life was already kind of in shambles anyhow. But I did what I needed to do to take care of myself and take care of my family and get the money that was owed to me. And I just sat back and said, gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. And wow, I can't believe that they're investigating you for, you know, that's horrible and whatever. And I got my money. I got my money and I walked away and I never spoke to him again. That was it. You know?
I thought you were going to say he called you up to tell you his toothbrush tasted like poop for some reason.
So, you know, I mean, but
you know anything about this?
Some people, like, everybody reacts different when they get hurt. Some people feel the need to get loud and scream it and whatever and blah, 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 and snarky comments and all that. Or you just sit back and you just let the chips fall where they may. And sometimes at the end of the day, if you let the chips fall where they may, even though that's really hard, and trust me, it's not within your character, not within my character, sometimes it's easier to just do that and just let things play themselves out.
Dusty, whatever you do, don't eat the donut.
End of story, rant over.
The tip of the day is don't eat the donut. Jim's had a donut in between his ass cheeks for the past 8 hours. And he's
probably
feeding
have.
it to you.
One of those Oh, Jim, you had Krispy Kreme in North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know that we have the same deal here with the Hot Now, and you can get the app, and it's right up the road from you. And oh yeah,
They closed theirs. I mean, We had one like an hour and a half away, but they closed it.
Dude, is that beer or is that straight whiskey on the rocks?
This is whiskey on the rocks.
Oh, God.
Is there a problem?
No.
Is there a problem, officer?
Y'all are supposed to shut me up if I say too much.
So what did I miss?
Well, we speculated about where you were.
Oh yeah. I figured that much.
Which
Number one
apparently
only. No number two.
It was Orange is the New Gym. But it doesn't take that long to hit I forgot my password.
No, I just sit there and try and figure it out before I did that. I don't want to just do that.
No, I agree, Jim, because sometimes it takes a while to find a password. You know what I mean?
That's right.
I can totally see Jim over there. He's like, turd hole 1, turd hole 2, turd hole 1. Damn it.
No, here's the thing. It's on our TV, and we've got one of those Android boxes. And I bought a remote for it that's got like a full keyboard and a little like touchpad, and I can move around the screen. And in theory, it's really cool. But I'm sitting there typing in my email, and it deletes it all. Like, I didn't hit delete. It just fucking did it. So I'm like, all right, do it again, and it deletes it. It's like, all right, do it again, and then it stays. And I'm like, all right, password. Type in my password, deletes it. And so I'm sitting there fighting with this thing, like cursing. And then I'm finally like, just chuck it and give me the original remote, which is just this shitty little, 4-button remote that's like, you have to go through and click each letter and go back and like do all that. And it's the wrong fucking password. So then I'm like, all right, forgot password. Like the password that I thought was going to work, I like struggled with to get it in there. And then finally I was just like, all right, just
I struggled with it to get it in there.
Sometimes, Jim, if you just make eye contact, just let the force guide you to the right spot.
Wives within this group, wives are usually off limit, and I'm so sorry, Ashley, but Jim, you got to watch what you say. Because
there's not four buttons. There's just one. Relax, you're gonna find it.
Oh my God, this is like you retitle this. What's the name of it? I don't know. What's the name of the show? The Original. Okay, not really. No, you did call it the worst show ever. we already did that, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did.
It can't be worst show ever because we'd be doing worst show ever every time. We always try to do worse than what we did before.
Right. We need to constantly reach new lows.
That's right.
Thrift Daddy said, "Shots fired." Toadcast. So, Thrift Daddy, your name has come up recently in private conversations because I know you visit some areas. Occasionally, I don't like to give out people's personal stuff, but you visit some areas, and Jim and I and Zilke, when he gets back from, he texted me last night at like 9 o'clock, and he's like, "I'm packing to go to Western Pennsylvania or whatever." But when we can all kind of get together in Harlan, hot Halloween props, we've got to get him too. So when's the next time you're going to be down this way? Scottsboro. Well, you said it. Okay, there you go. But Scottsboro. When is the next time you're going to be down this way? Because we've all got to get together. Crickets.
And waiting.
Crickets.
And waiting.
And crickets.
Now remember, Dusty doesn't do reseller hangouts unless it's within a half an hour.
He said, "F if I know." Only Jim's allowed to read that bad word.
Did we even talk about reselling today? I forget.
No, we did. As a matter of fact, I just posted. Somebody had a question. I just posted it.
Oh yeah, we had a long, boring stretch of reselling stuff. It was like 15 minutes.
So, Jim, it's your show. Take the reins and whip that bitch.
Oh, wait. Speaking of smart posts, now we should talk about passive income and how you can't retire from selling on eBay.
Wait, who asked that, Dusty?
I don't know who asked that, but all I know is
I didn't see that.
passive income. We were discussing passive income before the show started, and we said quite simply, passive income is FBA at Amazon. That's where you don't actively do anything with the selling part, but you worked your ass off not passively, to get the shit to FBA.
Yeah, that's not passive.
No. That's about as passive as you can possibly get in this business.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as passive income. I don't care if you're a real estate investor. There's always work to be done up front. Unless you inherit $1 million or win the lottery, there's no such thing as passive income. Every passive means kind of hands off, but there's always work to be done up front. And I think that's kind of come around the reselling circles here lately. Oh, I'm just going to do this and whatever. Amazon FBA is a great example of passive income. Tristan and I lived for probably a year and a half when we were about 90% Amazon, 10% eBay. Now it's completely reversed, if not 95% eBay, 5% Amazon, or 5% Amazon. But, there's still work that went into that. There was a lot of, we were able, when we were full-time FBA, we were able to take every November, December, and about half of January off because we worked our asses off in August, September, October. Somebody recently said, merch, and a lot of people have been talking about merch. Number one, you got to be able to create good designs. You got to be it's kind of like selling clothing. Yes, anybody can sell clothing, but not everybody's going to be good at it. You got to be able to create good designs. You got to be a good graphic designer or hire somebody to create them. And the minute you do that with merch and you create a t-shirt that's cool, the Chinese are going to knock it off. So it's still going to consistently be a battle. I could create YouTube videos and make a decent income if I'd pump out 1.5 a day like some of these YouTube reseller people do. I could probably pay my rent every month if I did one a day. I could easily pay my rent every month if I did one a day.
To be
passive, still actually having to record the video, have good content. You still got to work at that video. There's residual income, and I think that's the problem. Is I think people are confusing passive with residual.
Right.
That's because most of the YouTube resellers are retarded. I mean, they don't know and they're talking out of their ass, and they're saying passive income, and they don't even know what the fuck it is.
Well, there's a lot of. I mean, retarded might be a strong word, but there's a lot of that goes around. There's a lot of people talk about 1099. 1099 my employee. They don't even know the 7. I forget how many it is, but if you go Google 1099 IRS 1099 regulations,
the letters behind it.
It's the 7, huh?
The different letters behind it. It's a 1099.
Yeah, 1099K is a per payment processor. But to 1099 employee, there's like a 7-part key test, or I forget how many parts it is. Joe Hare's in the audience. I mean, he's actually does accounting. He probably knows it better than I do. But there's people out, there's people out there that are going, well, I'll just 1099 my employee. Well, just because you told them that here's a digital camera, that doesn't mean anything. That they have to be able to set their own hours. They have to be able to work at their own rate. They have to be on an uncontrolled environment. They have to, and I'm not verbatim, but they have to bring their own tools to the thing. They have to pass certain litmus tests.
If you hand somebody the tools to do their job, they're an employee. They're not a 1099.
Right.
That's simple.
And you'll get away with it until one of them comes to your place to pick up the stuff that's supposed to put on eBay for you. And when they're walking out of your place, they take a tumble on the steps or whatever and hurt themselves, go to the hospital, and they say, what were you doing? Well, I was picking up some stuff I have to list. That's my job. And now you're in a whole big problem. Now they're gonna be looking at workman's comp. They may be on state insurance or Medicaid or something. Medicaid's going to come looking for someone to reimburse them if they claim if they say they were at work.
Yep.
Or the other thing is sometimes if you let them go, when they're done, if they don't understand it or they're pissed at you, they're going to go file for unemployment.
At the end of the day, don't ask anybody on this damn panel how to do something that really needs legal advice from, whether it be a CPA or legal advice. Don't take my word for it. Don't take the word of any of the 4 people here. And a lot of us aren't going to tell you what we do, because you have certain people that love to nitpick at, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Isn't this wrong? Isn't this wrong? None of us are perfect. We try to run our business in the best way possible to minimize risk, but we're ultimately, I mean, has anybody on this panel ever cheated the IRS? Yeah, probably some point in time we probably did. You know,
No, I did.
huh?
No,
No, I didn't.
Nope.
Except for Eric, but no, nobody's going to talk about it on a video. Nobody's going to whatever. But you know, it's at the end of the day. You know, could I claim? I mean, I don't know. Could I claim 5 miles more than I actually drove to take that extra $250 write-off that would keep me in a separate tax bracket or whatever? Yeah, somebody out there, one of us has probably done that at some point in time. But you know, we're not going to talk about it because you get nitpicked on when you do YouTube. You get scrutinized. You get people that love to pick on shit like that. And Barry Worth just said, "What about the YouTuber kicked off Amazon? Any surprise recent videos about eBay instead?"
I don't follow most YouTubers, so I really wouldn't know.
I have no clue. I just have that button right in the middle of my thought. I have no clue who that is. Can you give me some like initials? I don't follow anybody. I'll be honest. I follow the people on this panel, the people on the morning show panel, people that I know personally, and with the exception of like people that live in RVs because I think it's fun, and Terminal 99 because he does vintage stuff.
I like to follow that lady that her mother burps in the background.
I was watching.
She hasn't put out any new stuff.
The mother whose baby burps in the background?
Or the girl whose mother burps in the background. It's the one
Yeah.
Jim just posted, doesn't it?
Yeah, I posted it to the happy hour. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. I loved it. Oh,
She's
that
like-
Was that the girl that was like cussing up a storm?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hilarious.
She cusses a lot, and she's like, and you know I ain't know my daddy because he died 5 years ago. And it's like, okay, you're not really making your point, but
Was she the one that yelled? Was she the
video saying she made everything up?
yeah.
was she the one that yelled, "My daddy's not a horse" because he's
Yes.
human?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
watched like about 30 seconds of that, and I was like,
Oh, it's funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
Her mom's in the background. You moron! Like, it's just,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh-huh. Yeah.
Dusty, you need to immerse yourself in that.
Yeah.
All right, Barry Worth, if you're going to start shit, you got to finish it and tell everybody what you're talking about.
Yep.
Back to the 1099 employee. I love the people out there that are like, oh, I'm going to hire a 1099 employee, and then they do, and then they complain that they never show up for work. Guess what? You're a 1090. You hired a contractor. They work on their own schedule. They can not show up for 3 weeks, and if you don't tell them, hey, I'm going to look for somebody else that's going to be more consistent, they can come in and say, hey, I'm here to work now. So
That's true, Barry. Don't forget that the chat goes away and it's not in the rebroadcast. So you can type it if you don't want to say it. Type it in the thing. We'll decide if we want to say it. So
I will probably say it.
probably, but
yeah, we can pretend that somebody else said it. Like we'll make up a name.
We'll make him a name that rhymes with it.
Yeah, we're really good at that.
Rhymes with Merrick Meber. I'm going through my list of, I've actually got, because I pretty much know all the major YouTubers. I'm going through my list of
that's a good point. Thrift Daddy says, how many people actually tell their help they're getting a 1099 and not a W-2?
ooh.
That's all different. I'm sure that some people are surprised by their paychecks and realize they don't realize they're responsible for their taxes at the end. So, yeah. But again, if you're not seeing a traditional paycheck, you're not giving them the breakdown of the taxes you took out and you accounted for everything, then yeah, it can be a big surprise to somebody.
And I would probably, I mean, I don't know because I've never 1099 employee with all the businesses we've run and all that. I've never had a 1099 employee. I would question whether or not there's not some sort of stipulation. I mean, I'm totally speculating here that you're required to tell them up front.
Oh yeah, you are.
Are
I'm
you?
sure you're required to tell them up front, but even after that first paycheck, they should realize it at that point.
All right, Barry Worth said, person already names themselves after an animal. What?
Oh my God, dude, we can't do code speak. A dolphin? I know Jim got that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, so now I guess now the audience gets to guess because I have no clue. I really, I was telling these guys, I was thinking about it today, and it's just you catch a lot of hell when you do YouTube. Facebook group, I love the Facebook group, but there's days that I just want to, when I look back on, I mean, I would have never met these guys here. I was on the phone today with my wife and Danica, and Tristan's up at Danica's house in Wisconsin, and for a couple weeks, and I was on the phone with them, and I said, there's just some days that I wouldn't trade it for anything, meeting everybody we met, but there's some days, okay, actually, I've got his, yeah, he's showing no active products for sale. Okay, so that makes sense. His Amazon store name is JLNC. That's the initials of it. Wow, 67% feedback in the last 30 days, 86% last 90 days. But I saw that one coming, and that was something that I mentioned a long time ago, and people don't want to listen. So
I think we talked about that in a hangout like a year ago. Like when
there was stuff going on with that particular YouTuber. I'll give you a really good example. They were selling like GPS units that were on a listing for black, but they were listing as, or no, it was TI calculators on a black listing or silver listing or dark gray or graphite, whatever they call it, and they were putting in the condition notes is yellow. And you can't do that. And I tried to screen the best I could in a group that's a paid group that I will not mention publicly, but it used to be $100 a year, and I think it's $200 a year now. And I tried to even talk to the admins and stuff like that. And I said, why are you letting this bad information go on? Because that's going to hurt people. And apparently now it has hurt somebody. And if you read through the feedback, I mean, here's one that says, can't even walk around with this thing without it skipping. It's a piece of junk. There's a 1-star. On time, properly packaged, but does not work with freshly charged rechargeable batteries. Does not turn on or allow me to allow me a test flash. Contacted Amazon and received the label, sent it back at no cost to me, except what a waste of time and my time and energy. And I think what happened, and this is what I've seen in the last 3 years, a lot of FBA people, all the young people jumped on the bandwagon, and they said, well, if you get a negative feedback, you'll get it struck through. Well, at some point, Amazon, and that was another thing I screamed back then. I said, guys, eventually they're going to quit striking through, and you're going to have to take responsibility for that. When your metrics get low enough, you're going to get shut down. And they just wouldn't listen.
I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere in the background of YouTube or of Amazon's systems, they're still keeping track of all those strike throughs. And they're counting how many strike throughs you're getting, and they're like, all right, this guy's, there's a track record there, then suspensions start coming and stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, just because they strike through it off of their visible page doesn't mean that they don't actually still account for that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's one that got struck through that said, I did not receive the remote control with this unit. Well, that to me, and then Amazon struck through it and said, this item is fulfilled by Amazon. This particular person got really, really lucky with it. Chances are, because I know this reseller and I've followed him for as long as Barry Worth has, chances are they sent it in without the remote and put does not contain a remote. You can't do that. You can't on Amazon list it without any component that's already mentioned in the listing page. I mean, that's just a automatic problem, with the exception of textbooks and codes becomes a little bit different, and they can do some DVDs and CDs without actual cases, but on an item that has a remote control, no, you can't do that.
Dusty, I got to ask you, as somebody with experience on Amazon, because I do not have much experience on Amazon at all. My biggest return problem.
Don't do it.
Yeah, okay, I won't. My biggest return problem is electronics, and I just try to get my head around. As bad as electronics can be on eBay, I mean, how much worse they can be on Amazon. I mean, because
they make it so easy to return stuff on Amazon. It's literally click a button, and if you have a problem, you contact customer service, and they're so customer centric. They're automatically going to take the side of the buyer because they want to keep buyers. I mean, it's literally just, it became to me, it became to the point of where they're restricting items. They're taking the buyer's side. Not that I had any issues, but I'm seeing them more reading these kind of horror stories, what I'm talking about now, although that particular seller probably deserved that. And they're taking all these different sides to all these different things. And it just, to me, became like they're kind of not standing in the middle anymore. And it's just not worth it. Yeah. It's number one, it's too easier for the buyer to return stuff. Number two, if there is an issue, they're siding with the buyer. They're shooting from the hip, asking questions later, which has always been Amazon's approach. Let's keep the buyers happy. Yeah. And so I just kind of had to make a business call of, do I really want to continue that? When, yeah, it's more work, but I can go do eBay and be happier and not have to worry if I wake up tomorrow morning. That's the biggest thing, in my Amazon account shut down. Like this, I mean, I'm not going to say poor guy, but this dude that should have seen that shit coming, that literally should have seen that shit coming. Yeah. I mean, I called it 2 years ago. Yeah. And
well, I'm not claiming innocence, but I mean, you know how it is with these old electronics. I mean, you got like a Girard turntable from the 70s or some old tape deck or something. When you test it, it works. You put it in inventory. A month or two later, it sells. You ship it out. And I mean, there's a better than even chance that something gummed up or a tape or a belt is going to break or something like that. But the old electronics, because they were never meant to last 30, 40 years. These electronics were meant to be used for maybe 5 or 6 years and cost. So we're trying to resell them when they're old. I mean, for me, like having a business plan of, I'm going to ship this stuff off FBA to Amazon and hope that this stuff sits in their inventory, then gets shipped out, and the crap still the stuff still works. To me, that would be like the scariest thing. And like you said,
there's a huge lack. There's a huge lack because the way their communication system is set up as well. There's a huge lack of communication. It doesn't make it easier for buyers and sellers to connect. On eBay, if somebody has a problem, they open a case. It's whatever, you have to respond. There's that messaging system that flows back and forth smoothly. Amazon, there's none of that. I don't know if it's the way it's set up. It's very clunky on their back end. It does make it hard for buyers to figure out whatever. And of course, they can pick up the phone and call a 1-800 number or click a button for chat, and you get somebody in India. That's a big problem with Amazon as well, that doesn't understand it, and all they know is to be customer centric, so they automatically do whatever. There's a big, huge disconnect between buyer and seller on Amazon. Total night and day difference between eBay. eBay is more one of those, you sell a vintage, like, whatever it was you said, real player. It might be gummed up, the motor might be a little slow, the band might have gone bad. And if that happens, the guy on eBay contacts you and he goes, hey, man, just want to let you know the motor's not whatever. And you write him back and you said, hey, I'm so sorry. I can send you a new band if you're comfortable replacing it. Or if you want to do it, I can reimburse you. I can knock $30 off. That doesn't happen on Amazon. There's a huge disconnect there. So Amazon, for me, is not the marketplace to sell vintage shit, period, ever. Period. Or I mean, I know Jim does board games, but, maybe board games might be okay. But if they get it there and they say it's missing one piece, then that ultimately becomes a problem. Where on eBay, you'd be like, well, have you double checked them? Have you counted? Or I can order you the piece. I can send it to you. That's not going to happen with Amazon. There's this huge, giant disconnect. So it's automatically a strike against your account as a seller. They're, like I said, they're so customer centric. They're going to take the buyer side, and it's a yard sale flea market platform versus somebody that wants to be the biggest retailer in the world. and refund at no cost. It is two totally separate entities. And unless you can mentally do a disconnect between the two, which if you learn to do one over here on the higher platform, yes, ultimately it'll help you over here with eBay because you'll already have that mindset. But it's two totally different animals.
Yeah.
It really is.
Amazon actually refunds at a profit because they charge their sellers a not a convenience fee, but it's like a
10
processing. Yeah, it's like 10%. So they charge you to take the refund, but it doesn't go back to the buyer; it goes in their pocket. So. So sassy seller wants to try Amazon. I don't recommend it.
I mean, and so I think unless you do bulletproof, like for us, the last couple of years, it became bulletproof stuff. We sold placemats. We sold table runners. They were brand new in the package. They were a discontinued item that we found in a warehouse by Better Homes and Gardens because the distributor for Better Homes and Gardens had gone out of business. I don't mind sharing it now because we've sold out, but they had gone out of business. There was no competition on it. I knew they were legit because I actually had the cases of Better Homes and Gardens. They still had the UPS labels to the distributor here in Alabama on the side of them. You know, stuff like that, or books or CDs. I mean, you get into DVDs, you even get iffy. But all these people sending in GPS units and that seller that was mentioned earlier that got shut down, I mean, they were sending in iffy crap. You know, I mean, when you look at a GPS listing on Amazon, it will tell you what it contains. Will contain the windshield mount, the dashboard mount, on some of them, you know, the USB cord, this one, the charging cable, whatever. If you don't have one single component of that, if you're missing one tiny little item, I don't care if it tells you it's an instruction manual. If you don't have that, you are technically in violation of Amazon's policy. And what happened is all these people jumped on the FBA bandwagon and goes, well, we'll just send it in and put minus whatever. And I sat there for 2 years. I mean, I was in that paid group for 9 months. I dropped out early. And I finally said, guys, you're teaching, well, we're not in charge of it. It's member controlled. And I said, you're 6 admins collecting $100 a month. Bullshit. You know, and I sent a group text to them, which I still have, a group Facebook PM, and they're like, well, ultimately, we're sorry you feel that way. And I got a very passive kind of response, and I was like, wow, awesome, great. Hope your group works out. You collect all the money, and at the end of the day, you know, people like this person we were talking about a minute ago end up getting shut down because a couple admins, you know, 5 admins of a group didn't give a shit enough to step in and say, no, you can't send in expired ink by taking it out of the box and sending it in the foil pack. That was one of the things that was happening within their group. I'm like, it's still expired. You threw the box away. Now you're even in a bigger violation of Amazon stuff. And it was just
shoes. They're taking shoes out of the shoe boxes and sending them in.
Yeah, it was just bad information after bad information. And I went and I thought I was kind of nice about it. I was like, guys, you can't keep, you know, and they just didn't care. You know, it was just another money grub, example of a money grub where people are like, well, we're making money off the group and it's self-policed, you know?
Yeah.
We have 62 people watching that just heard that. So now I've pissed off everybody. I'm to the point I don't care anymore. I'm to the point where really honestly, and it's like I said earlier, and I hate to be this way, I love everybody that watches these shows and everything else. If I came on, did an occasional show, I love these guys. I love the morning show. But at the end of the day, I've got to get back to my business. And there's going to always be jackasses out there that are going to create this YouTube drama and everything else. And I'm just kind of over all of it, you know? And if people want to go watch the guy that steals from the Goodwill or whatever, I don't even remember what that situation was, or you know, they want to watch the guy that tells you that he's making $1 million and drives a $100,000 car or whatever. Good luck. But I'm going to tell you, I've done this for 20 years. I don't drive a $100,000 car. I make a good living for my family.
True.
And that's ultimately, normally the snazziness and the flashiness, 20 years of doing this comes with the younger crowd. It always comes, and I'm sorry if you're younger and you're watching this, but if it comes with the younger crowd, and somebody that I'm not going to mention said to me one day, it's a money grub. And this person is younger, but they're wise beyond their years, and very mature for their age, and they're involved in this business and everything else. And they said it's just a giant money grub. They don't have a vision for the future because they're thinking about the now. They don't have a wife. They don't have kids. And I'm not saying that you're not going to understand it if you don't have a wife and kids. But until you get to that maturity point where you go, this is a business. I need to treat this like a business for the long haul. Most of the people doing these videos are just kind of fly by night. They're there for the YouTube money, or they're there for, just to make a quick buck. And if their eBay account, in the back of my mind, if my eBay account got shut down, no, it's not. How can I go get a VPN and create a new account? It's like, oh shit, how will I provide for my family? And if there's not a panic point in the back of your mind, then you probably don't give a crap. And that's the people I don't want to listen to. Rant over.
Sassy Seller asks, and I'm going to...
I got paid.
All right. I'm going to...
One only, no number two.
I'm going to try to make a point that I wanted to make after Dusty's comment in the answer of this question. But is it too late or inappropriate to ask y'all's thoughts on the YouTube's channels, groups that charge for questionable info? And Eric already answered, why pay for something when you have other channels that are giving everything away for free? And then Sassy Seller asked, there seems to be an influx in the last 6 months. That's true. There has been an influx. There have been channels that used to occasionally put up a video, once or twice a week, that are now doing it once a day, if not several times a day. It's because people see that they can get some, payout from YouTube, and they make YouTube their job. And, I wouldn't pay for information. The minute that I hear bullshit, I try to call it out, and I definitely don't watch them after that. So, but I think, the people that are charging money, that are pumping out videos like every day, 2 or 3 times a day, they're making money on YouTube. That's their job. Their job is not reselling. So I wouldn't suggest watching those people because they don't resell.
Blazer Picker said it's all Gary V's fault.
Well, it is kind of.
I used to watch him, and then he became a pompous douchebag.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I've always said, and I said this from day one when I met all of you guys. YouTube, one of two things happen when people get on YouTube. They either don't change and they're rock steady, or they become a little more maybe out of their shelf, they're introverted, or it goes to their head and they become an asshole.
Yeah.
They either stay the same or they become they go the total opposite direction.
Right.
I think Gary Vee to me is one of those people that just became an a-hole.
I think there's more people that become a-holes that stay steady.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right.
They get that first payout of $125 or whatever, and they're like, oh, I can make money doing this. This can be my job. I can be like PewDiePie.
It's funny. I mean, I've often thought about, because if you follow me, you find out that all you ever get is my son's videos, because I don't do videos. But I've often thought about starting a whole channel and doing stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I won't do it because I won't keep it up. It's quite simple. I mean, if I were to get a bunch of followers, then I would almost feel an obligation to keep it up, and I really don't have that much interest in it. I love hanging out with these guys and doing a live. This is just a live hangout to us.
Yeah.
Every argument we have on here privately before, it's just we just bring you into our house and say, hey, this is what we do every night.
Right.
We just hang out together. We talk about shit we bought. We talk about shit we sold, and we just kind of chill out and relax. This is the true stuff. We're not. It's not. There's no production value, obviously.
Except for these guys in the background.
I got new flip flops today. I just like to show you this.
camel toes.
Outstanding.
This is the Alabama camel toe. I'm going to introduce Jim to the Alabama camel toe.
Freaking Chung Lee over there.
It's funny because we talk about, you can make money on YouTube. Yes, if you pump out a video a day, you can make money on YouTube. If you get enough subscribers, you can make money on YouTube. This is done on Jim's channel. Is he going to make a little bit of money off people watching this? Maybe. But you know what? Guys like me, Jason, Jim, we don't give a rat's ass. I hope Jim makes money off of that. But we're not out there going, hey, we got to get our cut of it as well. Because you know what? All we try to do is put out good information and to counter the bad information that's out there.
Yeah.
There's so much bad information out there that are trying to get you, because here's the deal with people who try to get you to buy something that you can get for free. They want you to believe that because you paid for it, it's the right stuff, as opposed to somebody who gave it away for free. So if you're paying for something, hey, maybe it's good information, maybe it's bad. But if you don't cross-check that and counter that, you got to kind of think about that. There's a lot of those channels out there that want you to pay or want you to donate or want you to super chat or want you to go to Patreon or some of the other pay, 8 or wherever they are. All that crap's out there for free. Just watch the stuff, learn from it, and move on.
I will
The
say
thing
this,
is, you can buy. Oh, go ahead.
okay, if you would work 3 hours at doing what we do, go out and source, go to an auction, do what you got to do to get some merchandise, then go, get home, list the stuff on eBay, and see what happens. I mean, that's going to be worth like a week of watching these paid videos or whatever. Just do it. I mean, it's not that hard. Just do it. You just got to go out there. Don't sit there and prepare forever watching, hour after hour after hour of video. Yeah, that's great that you're collecting information. It's very helpful. But I mean, really, when it gets on, at the end of the day, hard work, like my old man used to tell me, if you work hard, you're going to make money by accident. You just got to get out there and just do it. And that's, I don't know, that short rant over.
I can talk about that for hours. I can't stand people who charge money and then they give out you bad information. That's what drives me more.
It's worse than useless.
Yeah, it's setting people back out there.
I'm gonna tell you something that's gonna sound really vain, but we talked about this privately the other day, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. There is, like, I think we're all members, so I'll use that as an example. We're all members of my Facebook group, Alabama Pictures Group. But there is more information in the 5 people you see sitting here. I don't give a what you have. I can tell you right now, if you post a picture of it, one of the 5 people sitting here, there's probably 100 years worth of knowledge here. There is literally, I mean, I've never met such an amazing group of guys in my entire life. And the people that we do let into the group is, I freaking turn down about 9 out of 10 people just because, like, you're wearing an Auburn shirt, I don't like you. I mean, I seriously do that. Like, I don't want it. No, I do. I don't want it to be a big group. I mean, if you have an Auburn hat on, don't try to join the group because I'm not going to let you in. Because I don't want it to be a big group. But I'm going to tell you right now, yeah, it is a little elitist. It is a little whatever the hell you want to call it. But you know what? It's not a democracy. So go screw yourself. But if you do get let in the group or whatever, I want to tell you right now, if you post a picture of, I don't care what it is, there's just with the 5 people here and all the other amazing people we have, but just with the 5 people here alone, I mean, these guys never fail to amaze me on, like, I learn new shit every day. And that's how you grow in this business. It's not from taking somebody's freaking paid course. They're not going to teach you how to sell antiques and collectibles. And I'm not saying that's where all the money is, but I mean, we've talked about that in this show already. The clothing market's getting a little saturated. Even with, like, Eric's Star Wars toys, people are digging them more and more out of the attic. And, things like that are coming more and more to light. And markets are getting saturated. So you stay one step ahead of your competition. But if you don't know what it is, there's groups like that that are tight-knit and stuff where you can post stuff. And, I mean, unless you just act like a dumbass, nobody's going to treat you like a dumbass. People are going to be like, hey, here's what you got. Here's what you don't have. No, that sucks. You need to throw it back. You're going to get a straight answer, and you're going to get some really good research from a lot of good people.
If you ask,
and I did not do that, and I honestly did not. I know it sounded like a plug for the group. I didn't do it to plug the group because I don't want anybody else to join. I mean, like, seriously, we had 800 members. What, a year and like 15 months ago or whatever it was. We have 900. You don't know why? Because we turned down 800. I mean, seriously. And it's not, but find wherever your place is. That sounded so contradictory.
Well, no, it's just, I mean, it's just quite simply, if you join the group and you're a real reseller, and you're a real Facebook person, you're probably going to get in. But if you're a guy that belongs to 300, I turned one down today that he belonged to 372 other reselling groups.
Well, I guess a good example is if you pay to join a group, yeah, they're going to let you in because you're paying their freaking money. I would rather be a member of a group that was selective on who they let in. Even if it was selective because you're wearing an Auburn shirt.
Yeah. Well, if you ask a dumb question, you're going to get mean bombed anyway. So
Yeah.
Jennifer said, I think the only good thing about a paid group would be to cut out the riffraff. I'm going to tell you, I joined one that was $100 a year, and it was kind of like every FBA young go-getter kind, and there was a lot of stuff. The admins didn't give a shit. They didn't care if there was bad information, good information.
I would think, and I've never joined one of those groups, so I don't know. I could be completely wrong, but I would think that those groups are just filled with people that need their hand held through every single order, through every single process, and they're willing to pay that $100 a year to have somebody hold their hand and tell them what button to push to complete an FBA shipment every month that they send one in. You know, so they need that constant, and I'm thinking that those groups are filled with those types of people, and the people that already know about reselling really don't need to join those groups because you already have an idea of what to do.
yeah, I mean, a great example. There's a fairly popular reseller. I'm not going to say he's a hugely popular reseller that was part of the group, and would kept asking the same dumbass questions over and over again. That's the kind of person that doesn't really belong in the group. If you ask the question once, everybody here is going to jump in and help you out. Ask it 10 times, we're going to start making fun of you at that point.
You know, people are going to start figuring out, like, okay, you don't have a clue what you're doing, but you're trying to tell people you do.
I'm picturing a guy who's 27 years old, living in his mom's basement. Hey, mom, can I have $100 to join this group? Because they're going to teach me how to resell stuff so I can move out of here. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Here's your $100.
Right. Wait. Does the guy in his mom's basement have mannequins hanging behind him? So before we went live tonight, Jim's like,
"What are you car with gullwing doors?"
And I'm like, Jim, you look like you live in your mom's basement. That's awesome.
Yeah. Now basements do not have garage door openers in them.
I'm sure they're. Now I will say this: if you're into Amazon, I know there's some really good. If you're 100% retail arbitrage, whatever. There's some good paid groups, but I think the majority of people that watch these shows are probably like the rest of us. They put their pants on the same way, and we buy shit from thrift stores and junk stores and storage units and estate sales and whatever. You know, we're more probably eBay. So keep in mind that when I speak from the eBay standpoint of it, although I was 90% Amazon at one point, but I don't speak from that point, you know, from that aspect as of right now. So.
I mean, I tried Amazon. I thought it was a fine market for, at the time, CDs and books, but it's too much work for the money you get out of Amazon. You know, the occasional home run is there, but you know what? I can sell the same crap on eBay a lot easier.
Yeah. For the work it would take to maintain 2 accounts for me, I mean, I have an Amazon account. I think I sold 1 book the whole time I ever had the account. I buy a whole bunch of stuff. But for me to maintain another sales account on Amazon and run the eBay, you know, it's just why I could just I might get less on eBay, but it'd be so much work to try to work off 2 different accounts. I'd just rather take the little bit less I'm going to get off of eBay and just sell the shit on eBay.
Yeah, Yeah, I opened up an Amazon account because I had 19 or 20 boxes of books that were all Christian related. They were from a church that I bought out all the books out of them. And I knew I could flip some of them on eBay, and I was literally paying like $1 a box. So I had really zero money involved with them. And I thought, you know what, Amazon, I'll give it a shot. These guys convinced me that, you know, books might be not a bad idea. I made $700 or $800. You know, but that stuff just starts sitting down there after a while, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to start incurring fees, and it's not really worthwhile. And I just wasn't finding great stuff to send to them. I'd find something like, hey, there's a great deal. Boom, scan it. I'm going to make $1. I can sell that on eBay and make $1.
Right.
You know, why not I just do, you know, I finally killed my whole Amazon account. I recalled everything or destroyed most of it. And the stuff that I thought was selling on eBay, I brought back. It's on eBay now, and I'm selling it. Making actually more dollars than I was before. It's like, I got nothing against Amazon. I admire Scott Zilke tremendously but he puts in the work. I mean, that dude is on the road.
But he admitted that he did a video. He did a video today or yesterday. Talk about, you know, the secrets to eBay and Amazon. He's like, the secret is put in the work, and he admitted that he was fortunate enough to be able, because he don't have young kids or whatever, to be able to travel and to be able to do things, and he flat out, really, and he flat out admitted that I'm sorry, I'm got distracted by something. You know, he flat out admitted that you know, it was something he enjoyed. You know, but it's not for everybody. And it's not that everybody has the ability to travel and do all that.
Yeah, I mean, Toronto Greenhouse talked about that in the chat, that he makes more money on Amazon easier, but he's a Canadian seller. And so Canadian sellers are at a very disadvantage when it comes to eBay and the price they have to cost for shipping. So, you know, I can imagine if you could source the right stuff, Amazon might be a better market for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, one shipment coming out of Canada as opposed to 20 shipments a day. So I mean, I can see that there's other stuff. There's reasons to be an Amazon seller, but you know, unless you can find brand new high demand items, you're gonna make more money on eBay.
Oh, good God, people! Okay, so I posted a picture in the group today. It's a Narcotics Anonymous book.
Yes, you saw the response to that.
I'm just about to like go off. I posted, and if you don't like this kind of humor, then don't join the fucking group. Sorry, I dropped the F-bomb. But I posted a picture. It was a Narcotics Anonymous book, and I picked it up because those can actually be worth money. Drug addiction is not funny, but even the person that had the junk store goes, open it up. And I open it up, and it's literally, you know how people cut out the inner pages of books? Somebody has taken the time to cut this out to fit all their pipes and all their paraphernalia. It was funny. No, I'm not making fun. But God, for the love of God, people have a sense of humor. We live in such a society anymore that people just can't take things for what they are. I mean, like, seriously, you'll say, like somebody a minute ago said, well, that's just retarded. Well, now the guy who has a kid that's retarded is going to be pissed off. You know, that was not meant toward people that were retarded. And we just live in this society that's so butthurt by everything.
Well, I love that book. I was like, man, I would be happier that I opened a Narcotics Anonymous book with those cutouts than if I'd opened up one that didn't have anything in it, just regular writing. That makes that book
there were notes written in the front. You know, one guy, there was a note written in the front, which I didn't take a picture of, but he goes, hey, John, in quotes, because his name wasn't John, because God forbid I offend anybody that had a drug addiction named John. But, you know, he goes, hey, John, hope you're doing well, whatever. Keep your nose clean. That was kind of an irony, kind of funny thing. I mean, seriously, you know what? I'm going back to get the damn book. That's it. I'm going to go back and I'm going to get the book.
I think, what do you think? What's that book worth uncut? $30?
I don't know what our uncut drug books were. We're gonna get some rat poison, then we're gonna cut it down through. We're gonna step on it.
It's a $30 book. Let's just say it's a $30 book. I'm putting that book up for $74.99 because I think there's people that have humor out there. They're gonna look at that book going, That is freaking hilarious, and I wanted to show to my friends.
You know what? And for all the people that go, "Oh, that's so offensive," because I understand people have relatives that died from drug overdoses or whatever. I mean, I think addiction or disease or whatever it is has affected all of us at one point in time. But you know what? There's a certain point in time that you have to laugh. Sometimes laughter is the best medicine. It's not that it's funny, but it's that you can laugh about it a little bit. I don't, why the hell?
No, I thought you bought that book. I didn't realize you hadn't bought it yet.
No, I left it behind because I got distracted with buying.
Oh yeah, no, you got to pick that. I think that's a $75 to $100 book. I don't know what they go for normally, but whatever they go for normally, I'd double the price.
Well, mortality by itself is not funny, but I mean because we all have to face it at some point. It's a natural process of existence. I mean, there is humor to lighten that up. I mean, the darkest subjects in existence, there are things to lighten it up, and drug use would fall into that, or alcohol use, or bodily functions. I mean, it's humor, and it's you gotta, it's part of the human experience. I mean, we are going to laugh at things that are uncomfortable. I mean, it helps us cope.
It's people that get offended by anything you say, and oh my gosh, you said, Eric said something about his shirt, and I said, God, that shirt's gay, and then I piss off all the homosexual people. I mean, we seriously live in, and then I have to go defend myself and go, well, I have gay friends, or what? We live in this society where people are so freaking offended. Like, get over yourself.
That MTV song,
get over yourself.
The Dire Straits song where it says that ain't working, money for nothing, chicks are free. I like my MTV with Sting and Dire Straits. You remember that song?
Yeah.
Well, now it's radio edit. They take out the word faggot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's now with this big jet airplane.
Right. I mean, it's an art form. That is what is part of the art. I mean, that was when they sang it. It was an art form. If you're so embarrassed about the song, then don't play it.
Right.
Just get rid of it. Don't play it at all. Instead of playing a radio edit version that even, it's not, if you listen to the song, it's a person who's like an Archie Bunker type character who's being obviously homophobic or whatever. We're getting way, way too far over protective of those groups.
I've seen a shift in our country in the last 10 years to where everybody's offended by everything. Everybody's a bully.
Well,
I can't just tell you, hey, Jim Carrey, go screw yourself. I don't like what you're saying. You offended me by whatever. Now I'm a bully for telling you that.
Well,
our whole society in general has just become so overly tolerant of everything that everything is offensive, and now you're a protected class if you're offended.
Well, it's funny. I said my son is autistic, so he picks up a lot of different things. He comes home from school one day, and I'm sitting there, and we're talking about something, and the dog starts barking, and he can't stand the dog barking. But he sits there and turns and goes, "The dog is triggering me." That's not language I use.
Wow, they taught him that one at school.
Yeah, so I'm like, so he learned that from school.
Thank you, public school education.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, so now I have to figure out how to work this out. So I just quite simply I say, well, when you yell at my dog, you trigger me. And he gets very upset about that. I'm like, you know what? That's the society that we are now. Everybody's worried about being triggered by something, and you know what? The way I grew up, there was no triggering. Someone offended you, you left them alone. You just ignored them. If you get offended by something, you know what? Don't pay attention to me.
Yeah, just put yourself out of the situation.
Yeah. So I mean, if I offend you, kiss my ass. Quite frankly, I'm not trying to. So I could try to offend you. That'd be really fun, but
Well,
I've gotten pretty good
on the flip side, I think it's taken everybody else that's always tried to kind of pussyfoot around to me, and I've always tried to be politically correct, or probably just pissed off everybody that said pussyfoot because it's like lesbian term.
No, you triggered me when you said foot because I'm like Jim Bennett. I can't stand it.
Use the correct vernacular. It's vagina foot.
But I mean, it takes people like me that have gone from trying to be politically correct and trying to be okay. I'm so sorry, I'll whatever. And now I'm getting to the point, like Tristan, my wonderful wife, just joined the audience, and she said, I don't give a hoot what people say, and I can't help it if I'm going to trigger you as a snow. Well, I forget exactly what she said. Now I'm kind of ad-libbing.
I know
It's
she
not
did
my
say
job
who.
to cater to people's precious, tender feelings. But you take people that like us, and I think I speak for us collectively, that would have ordinarily, back maybe even just a few years ago, been a little more sensitive or whatever, and is now you've screamed so loud that I feel like I need to get louder because I'm just tired of you griping and complaining about everything you're offended about.
That's why I don't watch other YouTubers, because it's the same thing. I'm not going to worry about
It's exactly the same thing. That's a good point.
Yeah, I follow a lot of YouTubers, so I may follow you if you're out there, but it doesn't mean I actually go and watch your videos. If you put a video up with an interesting title, I might give you 5 minutes of my time to say, oh, what do you got to say there? But if you put a follow-up telling me how to do my business better, I'm not going to follow you because I know how to do my business. You put a haul video up, tell me you got some really cool stuff, I'll probably watch that. I like cool stuff, but I'm not going to sit there. You don't need to teach me anything.
I'll school you, Eric. Just watch me.
I know you will, baby.
Just watch me. I spoke for the first time in 45 minutes. Just watch
Jason,
me.
I love your videos. I just want to tell you that. And I'm sorry because I know you got me on that. You're like, oh, wow, they've been up for 6 months. Because I didn't follow you. I wasn't I just subscribed to you. They just come up. But I mean, your videos are great. I mean, those motor show videos are. I mean, some of the best ones out there. There's no jibber jabber. You're just watching the actual stuff in motion and stuff. I love it. I mean,
I'm just like now. I didn't say a fucking word for like a 2-hour video.
No,
he waits till the opening and he just goes and shoots at it, and then he's done.
I'm right to the point.
Well, you should watch him when he's been on a storage auction. He's like, okay, there's 4 minutes and 50. Now I'm going to get my bid in. And
That's what I've been doing. I'm surfing storage auctions, actually.
wait, you can't be buying these
That
things
is
for
rude.
nothing.
That is rude as hell.
He said, I'm not going to buy you. I'm going to call your wife, dude.
there's not any alcohol in that drink. I knew it. I asked at the beginning of the show. I said, "Is there any alcohol in there?" He's making it up. faking it.
No, there.
It's spirited seltzer.
I think it's just seltzer. Yeah, he's cruising storage auctions. Oh man, or online auctions.
I got to make money while I'm sitting here with you guys.
Oh, bitch.
Yeah, okay, let's see. Did you list everything from not this storage auction, the previous storage auction? Is it all up?
No.
Yeah. So you haven't listed all of that. You got this one to list, and you're not buying another one.
Well, you
What
know.
was
That's why I like hanging out.
What was the previous one before the shoe one?
That's the knife one. The one that had all the knives and all the magic stuff.
Yeah.
He sold some of it, but he didn't have it all up.
Yeah, I
Have
made
you
all
made
my money back.
you made your money back off
Oh,
that?
yeah, he's way made his money back
Yeah.
on it.
See, and that's where this is no, hold on now, because I get him. This is a really good example because I catch hell, and Jim and I were talking about this when he was at the warehouse the other day. I said, you go out, and Jim understands it. He used to do storage units. You go out, you buy a unit, you pay $500 or you pay $1,000. You make $2,000 or $3,000 back selling the good stuff, and you're like, well, I don't have time for that stuff. Oh shit, another unit just came up, and you end up chasing the money. Well, you end up with a lot of little smalls.
Yep.
And that's not a bad thing. If you have the storage space, that's not a bad thing because it's essentially money in the bank.
Yeah. I mean,
But it does become a little overwhelming. For me, it becomes a little overwhelming at a point because you're like, I have all this money in the bank. Now I got to figure out what to do with the bank.
yeah,
You know?
I've said down here many times, and I'm not afraid to say it again. Aside from the stuff I just bought really within the last week, the favorite phrase is douche my entire unlisted inventory and not be out of dime.
Where is Nikki tonight? Speaking of douches.
So yeah, you don't I bought this. I spent $425. I'm going to get it back without a one box. Do I have to list the other stuff? No. Do I want to list it? Sure, that's where the profit's at. But I showed 2 boxes of this stuff. I mean, this box and the clock box. I mean, I got like 7 other boxes to stuff. But that's how you make money in this business. You get your money back that you invested quickly, and then you slowly build the profit back into it.
Yeah. I don't mind stockpiling stuff. No problem at all.
Yeah, I've got the space for it. If I didn't have the space for it, it might be a different story.
As long as it's good stuff, I don't like stockpile $10 shit.
Oh no! When I brought home the stuff from the auction today, my daughter's home. She had the day off. I said, "Hey, you want to come out and help me go out and go through this stuff?" We went through and we picked up and looked at everything in the boxes and made a call right then. Is it worth listing, or is it going to go away? And my trash hadn't run yet. It comes today, so we're like, "Hey, trash hasn't run yet. Just put it into a box." And I threw away about 3.5 boxes worth of stuff. So I threw away 3.5 boxes out of 19 lots.
Hey,
dog's looking a little sickly. Yours all right? That dog's looking a little sickly. Did you forget to feed it?
Oh, shut up. I've been laying on the couch.
Hey, Jason, if you got
look like she's unhappy. Oh,
if you got a 13,000 square foot building, half of it's vehicles, the other half of it's eBay chaff, I'll call it. But like the stuff that's worth, well, some of it's nice, but a lot of it's worth $10 and less. I mean, you got to go through that crap. I mean, I'm going to take a video of it when Tara's not around because you don't want anybody to know. I mean, we got this building that's half full of stuff. I got it on pallets. They're 2 pallets wide. And I got an aisleway in between each one so we can get down there and get to it. I mean, we got this shit. Video games, carousel horses, refrigerators.
That's why you guys never stop listing.
Yeah. We could we could get high off our own supply for like a year. But, you got to spice up your stuff, too, and go to auctions.
Yeah, but the only problem with you is now you're moving. So you got to move all that crap.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to shop for the home runs. It's okay to not buy everyday average stuff.
That's a good point.
But don't stop shopping for home runs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Once you build up a decent inventory of unlisted stuff that you can kind of sit there and just go over and grab 10 things and list, doesn't stop you from going out every day even and saying, okay, I'm not going to buy anything unless I can get $100 a piece for it.
Well, I bought a bunch of stuff today. It was actually a lot of home runs, and the last item that I probably list that may throw into the pile of things to get to is a ball glove that's worth $40-$50. I actually got 3 Dooney Burke purses that are brand new, and they are legit because I know where they came from. And they may, and Tristan wants possibly one of them, but and they may fall to the side because there's a little more photographing involved, and you have to kind of stuff the purse and do all that kind of stuff. And then 3 bottles of Philosophy lotion and a small fan. But I listed all the major stuff that'll make me hopefully about $2,000 worth of profit. So that stuff, not that it's not valuable, but it falls to the side. If another guy calls me tomorrow and goes, hey, I've got some stuff I need you to look at, I will probably go buy another load and spend another $800, $300, $400, $500, $800, $1,000, $1,200, I mean, whatever it takes within limits of what I have. And I'll go buy that. And that stuff may fall back a little more to the wayside, but it's still money in the bank,
But some stuff, we had on the show this morning, I think it was after you guys were off, there was somebody asking about crating. They're like, oh, yeah, how do you ship big, heavy stuff? And I went into it a little bit about crating. And they're like, oh, I guess I could have my hubby help me with that or whatever. And that's, if you want to get into crating stuff, like heavy stuff, that's good. You're going to need a table saw. You're going to need a rated alarm saw. You're going to need an air nailer. You're going to need materials. And if you want to do that, that's great. But, or when you go to the auction, I mean, really, just bid on stuff. Just watch us. Just look at something and say, hey, this is something that's probably going to be more work than it's worth trying to ship. So why don't I just wait? And I hate to say it, use the low-hanging fruit thing. Pick something that's easier to ship that you might have the other people at the auction don't pick up on that has value, and grab that. You know, I mean, and then you don't have to build a crate or whatever. Because
I got a couple items out in my garage that I haven't even listed, even though they're worth, between the two items, there's $1,000 worth of stuff, $1,000 worth of value out there. But I never should have bought them because I'm like, my God, that's freight shipping, and what a pain in the ass.
Yeah, freight's big. Yeah, if it goes over freight, I won't touch it.
And so I'm like, I don't even want to mess with it. Now, obviously, Jason's a little different animal. He just takes it down to UPS and throws it on their counter and says, "Ship this for me." So
That's right. Worth every cent.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always think about your shipping when you're buying your stuff. I mean, I bought a bunch of pottery, it's Bennington potteries, plates and bowls and glasses, and I normally don't sell that stuff, but it's good money and it's going to sell by the piece as opposed to I sold a bunch of china that was by the set. And that was a pain in the ass because somebody bought 4 sets. Good money, but it's just still a pain in the ass to ship.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I definitely don't like shipping sets of dishes.
Strong has a few grand in my eBay death piles right now. I probably have, if I added everything in my garage and in my death piles, so should I say, probably have 20 grand worth of stuff. And no, Tristan, I did not get back from Cuba.
Tristan wasn't going to just come back from Cuba. We had this discussion before we went live. Wow, really? Dog butthole. So we had this discussion before we went live, and I said Tristan hates Hawaiian shirts. Although there's 1 or 2 that I found that are maybe vintage, risque ladies. There was one at Ron John that she was kind of like, yeah, whatever. But for the most part, she hates Hawaiian shirts, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get one anyhow.
I can't help but Tristan have that much taste when it comes to guys' clothing.
Had that much what?
Have much taste when it comes to gentlemen's clothing. So. But I love the lifestyle, man. I wear shorts, I wear sandals, I wear Hawaiian shirts, I smoke cigars, I got my smoking shirts. I mean,
but you live in Ohio. That's kind of a deal killer.
I can't help it. I got to live with a family. Believe me, I'd rather live in Florida near the beach or something like that, but I can't help that. So
Can you put up a background with like maybe one of those like really cool reseller canvases with a beachy scene?
I'm not going to do the fake background thing. You get my picture taken area. That's the best you get out of me. So.
Green screen it.
Oh yeah.
When I was bartending, I would wear Hawaiian shirts in February, January, in the middle of winter. People loved it. They're like, "Oh yeah, it's so cool." So,
sell them. I can actually support my Hawaiian shirt habit by going out and buying 5 or 10 at a time, and I get 1 or 2 that I can actually wear that I like, and then I resell the rest.
Yeah.
Somebody said Jim Bennett, Thrift Shop Hustler said Jim Bennett loving the vlogs. Jim said thanks. I can't do them every day. Too busy reselling. Thrift Shop Hustler said I hear you. I don't know how people do YouTube.
That is such a true statement. Think about that.
Jim said they made their job. They're not resellers.
Yeah. Hang on, Dusty. If you think about it, Jim is too busy doing reselling to make an everyday vlog. Mm-hmm. Now think about the people that put out videos every single day. What are they really doing?
I think to me when people, it takes a lot of time to edit videos. So if you're seeing a little, it doesn't take as much to add a little. But I mean, Jim, you did that for a while. You added in little clips and stuff. I mean, how much extra did that take you every day? He just left. That's awesome.
He's like, not me.
I lost my sound. But, it took him extra time, and to sit there and pick out the clips and edit the clips and do all that, that's one of the reasons I've never edited, because the minute that YouTube becomes a job, it becomes unfun and takes away from my regular real income, then, it's just not whatever. So I think for me, but people don't pick up on that. There's people getting in this business that are new to it every single day, and they go, oh my gosh, they have, 32,000 subscribers. They have 50,000 subscribers. They have lots of thumbs up. They must be good, and they sound charismatic, and they're a pretty face. And seriously, guys, use your freaking, common sense. And I think and a lot of people aren't going to do it. And I'm not out to save every little starfish from the ocean. And I mean, it's literally like trying to save starfish from the ocean. You throw one back, and another one washes up, and you can't really do it. I think all you can do is create a better show, like what we're doing here. And unfortunately, there's people that are going to fall for that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, if they do, yeah, it makes me sad. because they're probably not going to succeed, but it's not my responsibility either. You know,
Yeah, it upsets me when bad information gets out there, but quite frankly, all it does is it means that they're going to run out of money and they're going to get out of the business. I'm still going to get better deals out there for me.
Megan Carl, go ahead. They're talking about dogs in the comments, and Megan Carl says that our dog is adorable, but her baby is 1,200 pounds and can't sit in my lap.
Probably has a horse, if I had to make a guess.
Or a Volkswagen Bug, one of the two.
Or she could be a cow lover. There's lots of cow lovers out there. I mean,
if it's a horse, she should milk it and reduce its weight. If she could get some of that milk out of it. I mean, it's 8 pounds to a gallon.
Y'all haven't tried anything until you tried horse milk cheese, and if you haven't tried it, go check out Jim and Tara's channel. Because they sell horse milk cheese. Wow. Oh my Lord.
Yeah, Megan said it was her horse.
Yeah, we're gonna take it right out of the horse.
Well, you know, the nice thing is they temper that with the cat milk as well. So I mean,
oh my God, that cat milking video is so bad.
Dude, quit sending me cat milking videos. I sent them on to my wife and daughter, and they're like, "Why would you send me that?" I don't want to see that.
Suggested cat milking and cat milking accessories. It's just awful.
Lactation Nation. We're gonna start a new magazine. Okay. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah.
Is your wife still awake and sitting like 10 feet in front of you listening to all this?
Is this mic on? Oh, I'm sorry.
Is Tara still up?
No, she's gone. She bugged out about half an hour ago. It's
So,
just
so that's when you kind of come alive. You can say whatever because she's not across the living room going, "Shut up, shut up."
It's gonna be pretty bad. She gives me a pretty long leash. I should say long rope, and just enough to hang myself.
Yeah, but you've been pulling at the end of that rope for a long time.
Yeah. That's what I like about her. She don't holler at me. It's one of her greatest qualities. What do I look for a woman? Somebody who's not going to holler at me.
Toronto Greenhouse said.
Come on, Jim. You know, all you look for a woman is her ability to say yes.
Toronto Greenhouse said, I've had a few people suggest I make reseller videos from the Great White North because he is actually up there. He was on, which show was he on? Was it on one of our Reseller Happy Hours? I think it was, wasn't it?
I think he was on one of the happy hours before. Might have been. I don't know.
It was early on, yeah.
Yeah, it was way back when. He said, I don't have the time or inclination. Would rather just make clever comments on side chats. I don't blame. You know, it's. I don't know. It's one of those things I set out to do because I truly do like helping people. I mean, if it weren't for, you know, if that wasn't part of me, trust me, I would have quit a long time ago. And there's still days I am tempted because some of the frustrating stuff gets, you know, frustrating. And it's just, I don't know. It's part of who I am. I mean, there's a lot of bigger history to me, more than just reselling and the cool guy act that you see and all that. I mean, we worked with homeless ministries. We've done a lot of other stuff in life that I've never really shared because it's not, didn't do those things to share them. You know, some things you do in private, you do it out of the goodness of your heart. But yeah, there is a soft spot underneath all this, but I think ultimately, you know, we've all been there, probably this whole panel. We've been to the point where we've been to our last dime. And if we can show somebody else how to do it, pull themselves up and, you know, and not lose their house or whatever. And, you know, and ultimately, I think my excuse, though, or my defense is when people go, well, you're just teaching other competition, whatever. No, it's also making the platform a better place. So it's a dual fold. It's a rewarding, not that it's set out to be rewarding, but I didn't do it for that reason. But it does help make the platform a better place to sell. You know, the more we do shows like this and say, hey, don't drop your damn smart post at at the post office. I don't really care what Garage Flip says to do. It's wrong. How did I say that out loud? Sorry. And he came back and did another video, but he was, whatever. I'm not going to go there. But I just kind of did.
Well, if you're wrong and you make a mistake on a video and you come back and you correct it, that's one thing. That's fine.
Well,
back and go, well, I guess
you're wrong because you've gotten away with it. That's a bunch of crap.
Just own it, and if you cut corners and things in your business, I mean, don't, I don't know. Not that any of us here have never cut corners. Just don't freaking talk about it. It's like I said the other day on the morning show. If the subject comes up and somebody goes, "What do you think?" and the question comes up and Eric reads it or whatever, I'm going to personally sit there and go, "I have no idea," or "You need to ask an accountant." I'm not just going to make up some answer and hear myself talk. And I think there's a lot of YouTubers that get out there and do that, and they put out information, and they have a very charismatic personality, and they're very outspoken, and they're very good stage presence, so to speak. And they just, oh, well, here's what you need to do is whatever. And people somehow, I mean, think about it. We live in a society where for years people fell victim to telemarketing scams. I mean, people are still to this day falling victim to Nigerian print scams. And you stop and look and you're like, how can anybody actually be that dumb? But people still do that crap like that. There are still people out there that are very gullible. And the same applies to the reselling community. People are getting into this new and they're like, well, I heard him say it. I thought it was the real deal. And so you really have to be careful when you do a show like this. And that's why a lot of times it sounds like I preface things with, but. I'm probably more thorough in explaining things than a lot of people are, but I don't ever want there to be misunderstanding. Well, I heard Dusty say this, or I heard this on Jim's show. I would rather preface it with the whole preface it with the whole disclaimer thing and sound redundant versus being the guy that put out bad information.
Dusty, I think when you teach people, you're teaching yourself. I mean, when you review stuff, I mean, when you stand on today, I stood on the tailgate of my pickup truck, and I said, well, this is whatever. You're reviewing this stuff yourself. Yeah, sure, I'm training my competition. And one of the things I picked up, I said, yeah, I'm from Eagle River, Wisconsin. That's where this mug is from. They even know
when you speak it, you're putting it back into your mind again. So yeah, you actually are. You're actually, and there is a psychology behind that. But when you speak things, even if you already know them, you're reiterating things within your own brain. So you are teaching yourself again.
And if we can make this community better by helping people, I mean, it's just gonna. The more if you can't save your way into wealth. You can maintain your wealth by saving, but you can't save yourself wealthy. If you're starting out where you're not wealthy, you'll never save yourself to wealth. The only way you can make yourself wealthy is to take risks, invest, and make money, and then you can save.
Yeah, I thought that too, Jim, until I was investing in Nigerian print stuff. So I got to change.
I mean, you got to prime the pump. I mean, sometimes in order to make energy, you got to expend energy. And I mean, like if you're a farmer and you say, well, I'm not going to plant this corn because I want to eat this corn. No, you got to plant that freaking corn. That's the only way you're going to grow corn. Don't look at it as don't look at it as corn lost. Look at it as corn that's going to be gained by, when you put out that money in something that you're going to be able to resell and turn a profit. Look at it as going to be profit coming in, not money I spent. You got, and the same thing with knowledge. You send out that knowledge, it's going to come back to you tenfold. You're not going to lose. It's great that people do it. I mean, we were all helped by these videos coming up, and we're going to help other people coming up too. Maybe not with this particular video, but with other ones.
But it's a lot of the stuff that I learned was from old dudes in barns. That there was one that as a matter of fact, his estate that I got the dental chair from. And he, up until the time he died and they sold all his stuff off, that guy was kind of a mentor to me. I learned more and more. I knew that stool would become uncomfortable. I told I told Eric that today. I said he's got this really cool stool, but I wonder how long it's going to last in the garage.
No.
How long before his ass cheeks mold over top of it and they realize he's giving himself a freaking prostate exam?
I feel like I have to go find a box of rusty nails to sit on to get some comfort. This thing is terrible. I bought this stool. Let me show everybody. It's cool. I mean, it's, you know, Miller Lite and whatnot. You know, it's a bar stool, and I'm like, oh, old guys sit on bar stools in bars all day long and drink, and I'm like, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, but the true older bars are the ones with the backs on the stools.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But even that wouldn't help. This thing's such a...
Have you ever visited Turkey? But no, I just spending time with old men at flea markets and talk about stuff and listening to them talk. And I mean, there's a lot of information and listening to people that are your senior, or that even not age wise, your senior, but that have more experience. But I think somehow with the reselling community, it's just kind of a whole generation of young go-getters that just don't care, and they're going to do what they want to do. And then you throw in the YouTube aspect, and then of course that's an income generator for a lot of people, and so it just becomes just pure greed. But everybody thinks, oh, because this whole reseller community, we're all a community, and we should have a rally and all that shit, and people think we're all one big friend, whatever. I mean, yeah, you guys are my friends. These guys are my friends. But at the end of the day, if Jim and I went to the auction the other night and there was something he really wanted and I really wanted it, and you know, it's whoever bids the most.
Yeah.
You know, Jim doesn't feed my family. I don't feed his family.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, I was talking with a guy at the auction today, and he was talking about, you know, he doesn't sell online. He buys stuff, and he has 3 big yard sales every year. He says, if I make enough in my yard sales to last me, you know, basically like 3 or 4 months. I'm like, he's like, so how do you buy online? So you know what? I said, he's like, aren't you afraid of talking to your competitors and stuff like that? I'm like, quite frankly, I really don't care. I said, I don't hide what I do, and if you want it more than I'm willing to spend my money for it, then you can have it. I have a top number I'm going to spend on anything I buy, and if you pass that number, I'm done with it. You know, so you know, there's competition, and I have no idea where I'm going with this. So.
No, I know, Eric. I know where you're going with this. If I'm at an auction, I'm not going to look down the line and say, "Hey, I wonder if Joe's going to bid on this or whatever." Hey, whoever bids the highest is going to win it.
Yeah.
No, there's no friends at an auction.
Yeah.
You know what the easiest thing to do is when you lose track of wherever you're going, and you just kind of hit that roadblock and you don't know where it was going. You just say "rant over," and then people laugh.
Yeah.
People laugh, and somebody comes up with a new subject.
Or you have me to pick it up.
Yeah, well, the problem is I still change the passwords from when I sent the Nigerian prince my passwords to my bank account and everything. So I'm still working on that right now.
Whoa, have you gotten your check yet? Because I haven't.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was starting to get a little concerned that maybe it got lost in the mail because I had to send him a couple $100 to get it all started, of course. So, you know.
Honest to God, back at real estate story, real short story. $275,000 CBRF, community-based residential facility for old people, group home for old people. These people are going to buy the place they're leasing, and the guy who owns it does a lot of stuff through a real estate office, so we're helping him with it. And he's talking to us, and he says, yeah, this Nigerian relative they didn't know they had it owes them money or is going to send them money. I'm like, wait a minute, dude. I go, you know about the Nigerian letter scam? Oh, yeah, but they've already had a lawyer check it out. It's got nothing to do with that. I'm like, okay. And I look at my dad. I'm like, Dad. He's like, yeah, I don't know if this sounds kosher. Okay. 2 weeks later, they're hiring this attorney. They're meeting in Canada for some reason, going back and forth. But they just got to send another $3,500, another $5,000. It went to shit. It was a scam. I mean, really, I watched it happen. It's unbelievable. In this day and age, it still works.
It is amazing.
You Nigerians are fantastic. I don't know how the hell you pull it off.
I used to work with a bunch of Nigerians, and it was funny. I mean, they were amazed that people actually fell for it as well. I mean, it's hilarious. So.
Yeah, and these people, because I talked to him on the phone. I'm like, "You're sure this isn't whatever?" I mean, like, because I'm a pretty blunt person. I'm like, "Hey, this isn't a Nigerian letter scam." Oh no,
Sounds like you smoked a blunt. But go ahead.
Going back and forth, yeah. But they were sure that wasn't what it was. But that's exactly what the F it was. Jesus, Maud. Because I'm looking at my dad. I'm like, "Dad, this ain't gonna go together. You do know that?" He's like, "Yeah, I got bad feeling about this." I'm like, "Oh crap." Because we got big commissions on the line. Not going to happen. We're doing up the paperwork, ordering title work and stuff. I'm like, this ain't never going to happen. Real estate rant over. I don't think I've been in real estate in 10 years. I don't even know why the hell I brought that up.
It's just kind of funny.
It was just funny that people that you would think would be smart enough not to fall for the Nigerian letter scam fall for it.
Did he ask if anyone's ever sold Mark's mechanical toys? I have a boxed wind-up tractor from the 1950s. Mark's stuff is always good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those brands that, I mean, obviously the newer stuff isn't worth quite as much, but you know, Mark's toys are good. It's a good brand to buy. Just don't get into them too deep.
Yeah, and it's an easy one to look up because it's very prolific. I mean, you're definitely gonna whatever you have, you're definitely gonna find solds on it.
Yeah,
Mark's was everywhere.
Mark's trains used to be really good, and they've really kind of come down. Yeah. So they're not quite as good as they used to be, but it's still good stuff. If you get in it at a really reasonable price, you can make money on Mark's toys. Anything Mark's, you can make pretty decent money on. 70s Marks is not quite as good because you get into the plastic stuff, but some of that stuff is actually kind of getting a little hotter because 70s toys are 50 years ago. It's starting to actually become, that's the people that have money to spend on collector stuff now. So
yeah, late 60s, that's really hot.
Yeah.
Late 60s Marks is hot. Plastic.
Yeah, that's the beginning of the plastic era toys, and that's kind of probably for the next 10 or 15 years, that's going to be your hotter toys for now. Your 10 and your cast is going away because nobody play with those when they're kids because they're all dead.
Well, and the other thing is plastic is not durable. If the kid left his metal toy out in the sandbox, it would hold up. If the kid left a plastic toy out in the sandbox, UV is going to kill that plastic. It's going to be junk. The plastic is hard to find.
Yeah, the big Marks ones were the Ford Apache, the plastic with all the horses and all that. I mean, there's tons of stuff Marks stuff.
When you shoot that brittle Marks Ford Apache with a BB gun, it's so awesome because when it hits that brittle old plastic, I mean, my dad had the whole Ford Apache set with the hard Marks plastic. Man, BB gun, that stuff. When I shoot those guys, the plastic just blasts everywhere. It's awesome.
Think about how much money you were blasting away now.
Hey, Eric, I'm worth it.
I just shudder to think of how many red lines I actually blew up with firecrackers.
Don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
I like the old wind-up toys that were made of celluloid.
Oh yeah.
Or as they're otherwise known as the fire starter.
Right.
Zip, zip, zip.
I took that stuff, whatever they make that stuff out of handbag. They made those handbags in the 50s out of it. Lucite?
Lucite, yeah.
Lucite, yeah.
We had this Lucite tray that was in very good condition. I put it into inventory, and the heat from the summer actually made it warp. So I went online, and I said, you can heat this up in an oven, and it'll go back to its original shape. So I did. But then I wiped it off with a paper towel with my hand. I actually got that Lucite. It gives off like an oil. I actually got it into my hand, and I got sick. I mean, nauseous, sick, bad. Whatever Lucite gives off this bad chemical, so be careful. Anyway, but I was able to polish it up because what happened was it sold. I had to make it right.
And that's why Jim is the way he's Jim. It's all bad chemicals.
I probably shortened my life by 5 years, but anyway, we got this Lucite. It was a serving tray, real stupid looking thing. Anyway, we got it shipped out and it worked out. But
his hand glows in the dark at night.
It was worth that extra $3,
My hand ain't the only thing that glows in the dark. Anyway, ever since the incident. Oh, Dusty is doing number 2. Damn it. Number 1 taking much too long. Number 1 only. No number 2.
We've had quite a few beers, so maybe.
Yeah.
That was hard-boiled eggs.
All right. I was going to wait for Dusty to come back, but apparently his dump is taking too long. So
Yeah, fuck him.
we're going to end the show here, guys.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
It was a good show.
We cracked 4 hours.
It was a good show. It
He
was
has a
fun.
tiny bladder.
He does have a tiny bladder.
He's got a little chipmunk bladder.
This bladder of little girl.
Yeah. All right. So that's it. We're ending the show.
Peace.
See you
people.
later.